applications, right? So one, we can make use of shift, and I think we've also discussed like how we can interface with external applications by using other protocols. Yeah, clear, right? So that's it. And I think we have also talked about the linkage between the master and ORS databases, one to many or many to many. I think we have seen that. Yeah. So after that, we started off understanding what you call data flow process. So because there was some problem with the lab, yeah. So that's why I just used what you call this process flow to explain. Yeah. So in that, we talked about how to pull the data from sources and start applying different kinds of flow process, like which includes landing, staging, loading, match, merge, and then finally publishing part. Yeah. So these are the multiple layers we discussed to some extent, not a larger extent, because as we go on, right? So we'll talk about this diagram with practical examples one by one with more details. I've just talked about only high level details on this of this particular diagram. Yeah. So uh, let us say we got three source systems or four source systems or n number of sources. So what we discussed was if you have n number of sources, it is always advisable to use n number of landing tables and n number of staging tables. I'm just trying to make it generic. Yeah. So we can have one landing, but it's not a best practice. Yeah. So that's why maintain one-to-one correspondence between the landing and staging. It's easy to trace it back to the sources if you have such kind of what you call practice. Yeah? So, and within this landing and staging, we can apply any sort of cleansing, yeah, like standardization, enrichment, whatever. I think we talked about some of them. And then apart from that, we have also seen archival, which is a raw, and second is what delta detection with multiple options supported by Informatica MDM. Yeah. Plus, we've also talked about reason for rejections and where the rejected records would get stored. So that's why we've got reject table. Yeah. So, and then once we understand that, then we could able to see the load process. Yeah. In the sense we can load the data from multiple staging tables to a single base object table, which means there will be many to one correspondence between the staging and the base object table. Remember that. Yeah. So in this, I think we talked about different types of loads, right? So which includes initial load, let's say first time load, you can say. So incremental means second time or third or fourth or later load, you can say, in case of any updates happens. Then we've also talked about load with a trust, which means how to configure the trust and load the data onto a base object table with the inclusive of the trust. Yeah. So then after that, we've also talked about in case if you made any mistake while setting up this trust, then those mistakes will be captured by using what validation rules. Remember that. Yeah. So we got different rule types or validation rule types. We'll talk about all of them with examples. I've just given one simple example like how these validation rules are going to work with a null or existence check we call. So where if the input data, in a sense any row, satisfies this particular condition, then the control comes onto this particular block where the appropriate downgrade would take place. This number, as I said, we get it from data steward, so like 50 percentage. Yeah, I think someone asked some question percentage. Yes, this number whatever we specify it, that will be in terms of percentage. Yeah, and then based on this percentage, recalculation of trust would take place. So I just given here, I think final trust score. Yes, initial trust minus initial trust into downgrade percentage. So with this particular downgrade percentage and with the initial trust as what here 90, I think we started right. With that, you'll get final trust as 45. Yeah. So as a result, null data is not going to get survived when you try to perform merge. Instead, this the record which has got highest trust, which is second one, right? That will be survived with AB instead of null. Yeah. These kinds of mistakes can be what you call captured as part of validations. Likewise, you can think of some more examples. We'll see the practical stuff later. Yeah. So then the next thing which we discussed was load with a lookup. Remember, so lookup is just like a business expectation, right? Where we specify, let's say for today's business, uh, which state that we need to deal. Let us say now MH, Maharashtra. So others, in case if we get data from other states, we don't what do you call consider those records. We consider those records as what rejected records. Yeah. And other than MH, they all will be sent to rejected table. Rest, in the sense MS data, will be sent to base object table. Remember that. Yeah. So anyway, so we need to follow some steps. I think I said it. So to configure lookup for non-lookup and also lookup, like what are the steps we follow, how to build the relationship between the non-lookup and lookup, right? After that, when you try to run the load job, you could able to see like a sum will be sent to BO, some records will be sent to basic table. Yeah, in case if you have such kind of data. Yeah. So next we have cell update. I think we talked about it. So cell update is just like a column or a field. Yeah. So this has a linkage with what xref or cross reference table, where when you perform load, so wherever there's a change happens, right? For those columns, update would take place. But this is going to be expensive operation, guys, because has to perform the check and update, which is extra operation, right? Checking. Yeah. So, but yes, in case if you are dealing with the critical data, then only enable it, or else it is not, because it's a performance uh, consumable option here. Yeah. So next is what I think we talked about preserve source system keys. This is the best option actually, because in case if you want to track each record, then we can just form what you call data to this PK source object in such a way that just by using this particular PK source object, one can start identifying like from which source this particular record has come from and what kind of data from this particular source has come from. Such kind of what you call cleansing should be done to populate data to this particular PK source object. That will have business meaning rather than simply using what row ID objects, which will have some unique values. Yeah. This is a default behavior, maintaining simple numeric values like a sequence IDs or unique IDs or surrogate keys. So you can override this particular default behavior by using what enabling resource source system keys. Yeah. So in this, we have to take care of proper cleansing. Yeah. So that's it. And then we have load by row ID object. Yeah. So this is straightforward. So in this case, normal road, right? What we do based on PK source object, we take a call, like how do you load it, right? If the PQ source object data exists, then we go with the update. If not, insert whatever, right? But it doesn't care in case of load by row ID object. You know, it doesn't care about PQ source object. So it go with what? Direct load. So by based on what? Row ID object. And we'll see with examples. Yeah. These are the different types of loader options that we have within this loading layer. As a result of this, you will get to see the data in the base object table. In this diagram, we can see address base object table. Yeah. So after that, so we can start getting into what? Match. So match is a very big topic. So I didn't talk about this much because
Now, see, one question on
yes,
that sale update. Without sale update and with sale update, what will be the difference in
check and
XRF
update.
record? Uh,
Yeah, exactly. XREF
no.
record, it's going to check and update if you enable it.
So what do you mean by check and update?
Check means, let's say if there is existing column data, example address example, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you enable it, so in XREF table, it is going to check previously processed data. If it exists, then it is going to perform update. Simple. Likewise, same thing will be repeated for other columns. So if you have 10 columns, right? So same process
Mm-hmm.
will be repeated for all the columns. That's going to be very expensive process. Yeah.
You mean to say it compares every column from the
That
stage with respect to XREF, and if it
XREF
find change and then updates it.
updates exact. That's a very expensive.
And
If you let,
but then
yeah.
without that, won't it update because we receive delta every day, and
Mhm.
for some staging table we don't have this option enabled. So in that case, won't it stage will
No,
get updated
that
into
case is
XREF
different.
if this
That
option
case
is
is
not enabled?
no. That case is different actually. So which means in that case we focus on what you call. See, XREF is basically based on what source systems, right? Yes, sir. So which means,
Mhm. Yeah.
so if you enable it, this cell, right? So per source, it is going to what? Check and update. But in normal case, BO is going to play precedence over cross reference. We'll see the difference with cell update, without update, with examples. Rahul, fine?
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, example, it will be more clear.
Yeah, fine. So yeah, where I am now. Okay. Now the next step is what? Match. So match is a big topic. So I just talked about very highlights about that. So we use this layer to identify the matching records, like exact matches or probable or fuzzy matches. Yeah. So, but anyway, so once we have any matches, right, then we need to convert those matching records to a single record by using what? Either manual or auto merge process. Yeah. So anyway, as a result of either manual or auto, right, you'll get to see a golden record. So that will be published to what? Any consumer, yeah, or set of consumers. Yeah. So yes, match. Anyway, I'll talk about separately because so when if we start match, then I'll have to go with the tokenization and all that. So I'll talk about it when we start matching layer. Yeah. So that's it. So this flow can be used for what? Both the linear data and also with what? Hierarchical data. Yeah. So same flow can be used. So we don't have separate flow to deal with what? Hierarchical data. Yeah. So only that much only I talked about it in the last session. But can we use what you call the same flow of activities to deal with what? Real time data process flow? Can someone think and answer this question? Is it going to be same or different? If it is a different, then why do you need to have, uh, if it is the same, then why do you need to have separate diagram here? Yeah. I think we talked about modes, right? Different modes in this Informatica MDM. I think if I remember correctly, we talked about that, right? Yes or no?
Yes,
Batch real time and near real time. I think we talked about it. You can just recall that
Yes.
and try to answer this question. Yeah.
So this would be near real time, right? This where you return the real time. Because if it is going through batch, definitely batch takes time and it will not be up to the mark. Means it will not be immediate. So you can call this as a near real time because it is going through the process of learning, staging, and subject and match and merge and localization.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah. So let me talk about it. So this particular data process flow can be used for both real time and non-real time. Let me talk about real time first. So let us say we have got the data from either application or a file or a table or some other media. We don't care about that. Yeah. But let us take a file. So our expectation is what? As and when the data comes in a file, we should be in a position to get it processed. That is our expectation. Let us say as and when you get the date new file, we should get it processed. So what we do here, so we'll have one service which is outside MDM, which is let's say ETL flow, which will be executed in a real time. So in ETL, where we use what service, what that service does, it is going to keep on polling for the file to be arrived. Once the file arrives, E starts, then rest follows. Then you'll get entry point to this landing. Then once you get it right, all the layers that we discussed, right, they all should be executed for the modified or for newly arrived data. All will happen. Yeah. So that's about entry point side. Similarly, on target side, remember, so here we could able to see XML web services. Here you can see what normal consumers. The reason is what in the target side, we have to use what web service or even normal service. What it does, as and when this particular master data is ready or modified or updated, right? Then this service would pick up this either modified or new master data, which will be notified to or which will be sent to appropriate what we call consumers. That is why on the source side and target side, which we should have the services. Services are meant for what? For polling. Remember, here on the target side, polling for updated master data or new master data. On the source side, we are polling for what? Whether new data got arrived or not. That's from source and target. Now, third aspect is what? In between what you call MDM, in the sense from landing, in between landing and publish, we've got a validation rules, right? That's a third change, like where this particular real time would differ. The order of evaluation of this particular validation rules would take place from bottom to top in case of real time. But in case of batch, order of validation rules would be evaluated from top to bottom. So that is going to be the third difference. Third difference. I hope it is clear, right? Yes or no? The difference between the batch and real time. Any questions from anybody?
so what does it mean, like from top to bottom and bottom to top for validation rules?
No, simple. We define some order, right? So let's order means it's a 1, 2, 3. Simple. 4, 5. So meaning let's say first validation rule 1, then validation rule 2, validation rule 3. Yes or no? Validation rule 4, validation rule 5. 5 rules, right? So if you go with a batch, then what happens? The execution will be from top to bottom, means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how the execution would take place. Then, after execution, whichever rule has got highest downgrade percentage, that will be taken as a base. So that part I didn't talk about it. I'll talk about it during validation. But in this case, I'm just trying to talk about the difference between the batch and real time. So this is clear, right? In case of real time, then order is what? Quite opposite. In the sense, 5, sorry, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, this is the order from bottom to top. Now I can ask question why, right? That I
Yeah.
can answer, but if you want, I can answer it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Like, why is it so?
And why, for example, normally what happens is we normally define validation rules based on what, let us say, this is a downgrade percentage 10, 20, and 30, whatever. We'll define in this way actually. Yeah. So that's the best practice. So now, when you try to what you call go with a batch, it will evaluate all the rules, then pick up the highest downgrade percentage. That's what happens in this batch. In real time, when it goes from bottom to top, so usually we define, let's say, highest is in the bottom. So whichever rule satisfies, it will stop there. It will not proceed further to evaluate what other rules. For example, let's say first got satisfied. It will not proceed further to evaluate what other 4 rules. That is the difference between what batch and real time. The reason
Got it.
why we are doing it here, because because the time slice is going to be the key factor in real time. We all know that, right? Yes or no? Yeah. So that is why we go with real time from bottom to top, and that if you made a mistake while defining validation rules, let's say lowest in the bottom, highest in the top, it means you have not followed the rules of MDM properly. So which means you'll get wrong results in that case. If you want to get the right results in all the modes, then this is the order we need to follow. Lowest in the top, highest in the bottom, so that in any mode, you'll get to see the what? Right results. You got right?
So, Narsimha, like, if there are multiple validation failures, if this is among here.
Mhm.
So, if there are like multiple validations failure in real time mode, then you are saying whichever is in the lowest order,
Mhm.
that error will come first, and then in the second call there will be a second error if validation fails there as well.
Yes. For example, let us take row 1. Uma, let me
Mhm.
talk. Row 1. Let's say there is a null data which is not expected. Then let's say fifth rule got satisfied with 90 downgrade percentage. Then it will just process. Play right? Play right? Now let's say row 2. Let's take this. Yeah. So this has got what you call some other issue, which is, let us say, example, pattern issue got satisfied. Yeah. And then 5 is not satisfied, 4 got satisfied. Here, let us say downgrade percentage 80, example. Yeah. Then this will be used to recalculate final test. It proceed further. This is what normal happens, Uma.
Hmm. But in one go, when it comes to real time, the user will get only one error, correct? Even if there are two validation failures.
Exactly, perfect. That's what I wanted to say. Yes.
Okay.
Only one only. Whichever first will get satisfied right from the bottom, it will stop there.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But in case of batch, it might satisfy even 5 also, all 5. But it will pick up the highest downgrade out of all 5. But it's not the case with the real time. Yeah. That's the main point here. Yeah, you are right.
All right.
Okay. So now,
One question.
yes, please.
So this real time you are talking about like when the records gets created through SIP APIs and others, and also from the UI like at time also.
Your voice is not clear here. Can you please repeat if you don't mind?
Hello, am I
Yes,
audible?
yeah, it's good. Yeah, go ahead, Vivek.
Okay, so I was asking that this real-time validation rule application you're talking about. So
Mhm.
this applies to when the record gets created through SIP in Vue or like from the IDD or E360 UI when the records gets created. At that time also these validation rules gets applied and in the same order.
provided if you are using real time. Answer is yes. If not, it depends on kind of mode that we use, Vivek.
So that's what I was asking. Like, SIP
direct-
APIs will be real time, right? Like, or the record which is getting created from the UI. That is what
If
both
it is,
means.
yeah, if it is through application or service, yes, it is real time. In that case, order will be from bottom to top. Vivek.
Okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like in the batches, you said like there are 5 validation rules, all will get applied. So, for example, if there is a validation, there is a system which has a trust of 100%, and then on the first validation rule, the trust gets downloaded 10%, so it would be like 90%, and then after second validation rule, it gets downgraded again 10%. So it is again like 81%. So it would be like the final would be 81%, or that second, which is 10% only, that would apply, and the final trust would be 90%. How it would be?
No, 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 no. Let us say we have given, no, the concept is, what I said is different here. So let's say we have got downgrade percent 10, 20, 30, let's say 40 and 50, right? Vivek? Yes. Now, let's say, so due to some reason, let's say all the rules have been satisfied. Let's take worst case scenario. In this case, which
Yeah.
rule has got highest downgrade percentage? Last one, right?
Mhm.
So that will be considered. That's what I meant, Vivek.
So the final trust downgrade will be only 50%, like the 50% of 100%, which is 50% only, not like lesser than that. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Got it.
Perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. Fine. Oh, if you try to go with a cumulative kind of thing, right? Oh, you'll get wrong results in different modes. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
that is what I was asking.
okay. Fine. So yeah, that's a good question anyway, because some others also would have confused on that. Yeah, I didn't meant that. Yeah, only one only. Yeah, whichever has got highest. That's what I meant. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's about the differences, right? Three differences: source side, target side, validation rules. The rest will be same, no change. Yeah. So that's it. And near real time, I think someone was saying about it's near real time, right? I'll come to that. See, near real time we talked about it. It's based on periodicity, intervals, right? Every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? So that's it. But the flow will be same as real time only. In the sense, validation rules from bottom to top, and this is also based on periodicity. So rest is same. Yeah. So same as real time, except periodicity. That's it. Clear, right? So every 30 minutes, will polling time every 30 minutes on source side, target side, and then validation rules from bottom to top. Yeah. It's clear, right? So that's it about the differences. So can we start getting into some practical stuff, guys? I hope now the lab is ready. So you all could able to log in, right? Yes or no? Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the first thing, I think we talked about different components within MDM Hub. What is the first and foremost component that we discussed, guys? So you try to, I request you all to refresh and come for the session at least from tomorrow onwards, guys, because I'll be asking questions just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Remember that, yeah? Because now the time has come in to recall like what we discussed. So where do we need to start? Landing or a staging or a loading or a match or merge or publish or something else?
Landing.
We talked, no, we talked about MDM hub components. What is the first and foremost component that we discussed?
It was model.
Exactly. Model. From bottom to top we discussed, right? Yes or no? Model, quality, and so on, identity and so on, right? Yes or no? So we need to go in that order. Yeah. The first thing is what? Model. Yeah. So assuming that this particular what I call project requires building a model from the scratch, which means there is no way of making use of existing model that was built by either modeling team or we get it from, let us say, Informatica. Let us take worst case scenario. That will not happen in reality most of the cases. Let's take worst case. Now, in this, to meet this particular worst case scenario, what is our what we call strategy to meet that expectation? That is where within Informatica MDM Hub itself, we got a provision to build a model from the scratch. Yeah. So, now we need to start building a model from the scratch. Now, tell me. Now let us talk about extending the model. So, what is a model? Let us start from the definition. I think we talked about it. Guys, what is a model? It's a visual representation of data. How do you visually represent? By using what? Metadata. So which means model would contain the metadata starting point. Now the next. So now can we have one object or two objects or one entity or two entities or one subject area or two subject areas or n number of subject areas to build a model? How many? One or two or three or n or unlimited? Yeah. So this is a fundamental thing, guys. Whoever knows database, right? They all will be knowing it. Yeah. So I think all of you are experienced, guys. So that's why I'm trying to start from the fundamentals, because we should not make a mistake. Very fundamental mistakes. So meaning what? We can have a one entity or one subject area. In this case, we call one base object. We can have a model which contains only one, or it could have more than one. Remember that. That's it. Yeah. So we can say n objects. N could be one, or it could be n numbers, 10 or 20, whatever. Yeah. Now the next question, to extend. If we have more than one, so do we need to make multiple entities or objects to talk to each other? Yes or no? Or we make them as what? Orphans or zombies, right? First answer, first or second? Answer is what? In most of the cases, it will be what? Second. Second in the sense, we make multiple objects to talk to each other by having what? Corresponding correspondence or cardinality, like one to one, one to many, whatever. But how do you build it? That's internal thing. So this is a PK, primary key, primary key, right? That we all know. So I don't need to talk about that. Yeah. So likewise, we can have n number of objects and start building or establishing the relationship between or among them. Yeah. So let us try doing it. So let us take one example. So let us say we got a customer and address. For every customer, we can have n number of addresses. In that case, so how do you build a relationship here? One to many, right? Customer to address is going to be one to many. Yeah. So that's one thing. Likewise, you can think of other cardinalities. Yeah. So now in this, in MDM, right? So entity would be replaced with, our subject area would be replaced with what? Base object. So that's what the term they use. Let us stick to that. What is a base object? So base object is going to be one of the core element in MDM Hub through which what you call MDM works, or which will act as a what? Entry and exit point of MDM. Yeah? Or we can say core and essential element of Informatica MDM Hub is what? Base object. Yeah? So now let us talk about how to create a base object table or base object from the scratch. To do that, can you see, guys? First thing, so we logged on to this particular Hub console, right? Now, while logging in, where do you build model, guys? In master database or ORS database? Who can answer this question? I think we talked about it.
Well,
The ORS.
Why?
And master is used to perform the like the master activities, whereas within the ORS we build the schema and perform other related activities. So
Yes. Yeah. Straight answer to this question is what? We build a solution based on the domain. Yes or no? Like a customer, product, whatever, right? Then, as we discussed earlier, for every domain, we have to have a corresponding ORS. Yes or no? So that's the reason why we build a model which is a domain driven, which is in ORS. So simple as that, right? Fine. So now let us try to log on to empty ORS, because assuming that nothing is there, we are going to build everything from the scratch. I'll also talk about field one also. So that you understand both empty and also filled one. Yeah? Let us start with the empty one. So I think if we try to go to options and select target database, or in the bottom, we can also see, can you see here where I press the mouse pointer, CMX ORS. You can just click on it, either this or options target database. Both are same, guys. So it will go to, it will take us to selection of one of the database. Yeah? So we can, let's say we are selecting CMX ORS, which is empty ORS, which does not have anything. Yeah? Right? So please select CMX ORS and say connect. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So because we have already connected earlier, we could able to see what same thing. There is no change. Yeah. If you switch over from, let's say, schema under model to database, see class or some other database, because the activity that we can perform from this configuration, they're all based on what? Admins. That's why we need to go to some other database. So let us stick to what? Schema. Yeah. So which means ORS, we can perform all the activities starting from model, TAM, data steward, and utilities. Just remember that. Yeah? That's okay. Let us stick to the model. So please select schema, guys. So we use schema manager tool in order to build a model, yeah, from the scratch. Yeah. So I hope all of you have selected it. Yes or no? Let me try to make it full screen. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, perfect. So Suman, yours is okay, right, madam? Yeah.
Yes, mine is working. I've
Okay,
connected to
fine.
the database.
Okay. So now, yeah, please log on to this ORS. Yeah. Now the next step is what? See, remember, we are all from database background, let us say. If you want to perform any change, one, with respect to meta, second, with respect to data, what is the first and foremost thing we need to do? So we need to acquire a lock. That's a best practice. You know? So in database, normally people would say that we acquire a log for data, not mandatory. We can also acquire a log even if you want to perform meta. We'll see. So please go to right log and select what? Acquire log. Yeah, fine. So that's it. Once you acquire a log, right, then we can see the buttons got enabled, which means we can start another change, or what you call creating from scratch. One of them can be done. Yeah, fine. So now let's go to plus button on the right top. We can see, right, which means we are going to add a base object table from the scratch. Yeah. So click on plus. Let's all be the same page, guys. Yeah. Let us
Yes.
try to do slowly, steadily, right at the first time, so that we can save a lot of time, guys. Yeah. If you get stuck with something, right, ask question immediately, so that we'll fix then and there itself. Because there are many participants, right? If so each one of you works on in your own way, right? So you'll have to waste a lot of time. Let us not do that. Yeah? So now let us apply. So item type could be either base object or landing table. Anyway, we are trying to focus on what? A model, right? So model will be built based on what? Base object tables. Now let us apply the base object table. Remember, guys, with respect to notational semantics, we will have normally guidelines. We call coding guidelines, right? So one of the senior member from your team, they'll prepare coding guidelines. So we just have to stick to that. Yeah. So let's say we are starting with all the base object tables. We'll have the prefix of BO underscore and then followed by, let's say, customers. Yeah. Right. So customer is going to be domain driven base object table, assuming that we are focusing on customer domain. Yeah. Fine. This is a display name, not a physical. Can you see here? In the bottom, we can see physical base object table. Every physical base object table will have the prefix of what? C underscore 1. The reason why we have C underscore, can someone answer this question? 1, it is centralized, or second, it indicates it's an Informatica MDM table. Yeah. So that's it. If you want to change, we can change it based on your own notational semantic side. You can change it. So there's nothing wrong in changing. Yeah. Now, every table should point to data index table spaces. Now, can someone tell me from where we got these two table spaces quickly? Yeah.
It's from master database.
Yeah. No. Next. Yeah.
While
So answer is what? Yeah. At the time of house store creation, right? Sorry. At the time of house store creation, right? Remember. So we create what? These three table spaces. Who does it? Administrator. Then start creating either master database or ORS database. There are n number of ORS databases, but prerequisite for that is what? Table spaces. We need to make it ready. And we'll do that, the practical example, when I talk about installation steps. Yeah? But for now, just remember from where it has come, right? Which means administrator would have been created before hub store creation. Yeah? Fine. So data index table spaces, and how much is the data size, index size also will be discussed later on. Yeah? So now let us say this is going to be the core base object table. Fine. Core viewer table. Yeah. Now, secure resource is enabled. What does it mean? Remember, guys, if you take any product, so we need to make it available or non-available. Yes or no? Which means if you want to make this particular base object table, which can be accessible from outside or not. If it is enabled, it is accessible. If it is disabled, it's not accessible, which means we can protect MDM hub resources, like in this resources, what? Base object table from outsiders by using this particular property, which is secure resource. It's one of the protection mechanism. We got some more. We'll talk about when we get into SAM, Secure Access Management. I hope the properties are clear, right? Yes or no? So I request everyone to understand each and every bit of it, guys, because you should be very strong in what all the properties and how we can understand, interpret from the back end also. I'll talk about all and say, okay. Yeah.
So
Narasimha,
Nasima, I'm not
Yeah.
getting the plus sign to add a table.
You need to write acquire log. Go to write log, acquire log.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Narasimha, I have one question actually regarding the secure resources. So when we tick that option actually, so does that mean that only person who is having some particular access will be able to access those tables, or how does
Not
it work?
person. No, I didn't talk about a person here. Person part, I'll come to that when I talk about Secure Access Manager. Here, what I talked about here is when it is enabled, base object table, right? Secure resource, meaning from outside we can access. That's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Who? That's a different story. That I'll talk about it as part of Secure Access Manager. Yeah.
Sorry, just another question actually. So outside means when
Outside MDM, outside MDM hub, like Swift-based application or Salesforce application, some other third-party application. That's what I meant. Yeah? Right? Okay, clear, right? I hope all done. Yes or no? I made full
Yes.
screen because I can't see participant list, guys. So I hope we're on the same page. Yes or no? No?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. So now the next thing. So let us say, so let us try to understand what you call common columns and also business columns or user defined columns. No? Remember, whenever we create any base object table in MDM Hub, by default, it is going to create what you call one primary key and 13 system columns. Can you see summary information here? So one primary key, 13 system columns, they'll be available. So we can say primary key, right? Row ID object. What it does, so it is going to tell us to identify the uniqueness of each record. So just like a sequence ID, I think we talked about that, right? That is the first thing. And second, where do we have other system columns? Can you see if we enable the checkbox, then we could able to see other system columns. Can someone answer the question like why do you need to have this many columns as part of base object table creation? Answer is what? Now let me ask question from Power Center or data quality, or some are worked on that, right? Whenever we create any what you call definition, flat file or relation, any definition, right? Do we create any pre-built columns or does Informatica takes care of adding its own column by itself? Both Power Center, DQ or EDC, whatever. Take any tools in this Informatica suite. Do we have it? Yes or no? In some tools, yes. Some tools, no. Like Catalog, Axon, we have it, but Power Center, DQ, we don't have it. Fine. So now let us take why we have this particular system columns. Let's answer this question. Why? Why we need to have these columns, guys? Answer is what?
Audit.
For auditing. Sorry.
Yeah, audit.
Exactly. For audit, for tracing, we can say. So which means who created this particular record, when it got created, reason to whatever, right? So we can think of many auditing or tracing properties. Let us talk about each with one example. So creator. So meaning what? Whenever we have a record in a base object table, so who we need to know who created this particular record. Can someone answer why we need to have it? Yeah. I think as I said earlier, tool is very simple, guys. Concept is very complex. Remember this MDM. Yeah. So answer. So for everything, we need to ask question why. There is a reason for it. Why? Because so whenever we get a data or a record on a base object table, first we need to understand from whom this record has been created. Why? Later on, so we need to keep track. So who is the initiator and who is the modified and so on. Yes or no? So that way, because our goal is to create what? Good record, right? Whatever change happens, right? So we need to have a way to keep a track. So that is why, so from the starting itself, which means whoever has created record, from then on, we have to have complete track so that it's easy to identify like where it went wrong. Because if you don't do that, anybody can perform any change. It's very difficult to particularly identify what went wrong. So this is a creator part and create date. So same thing, whoever is created, right? On which date and time this particular record got created. So we can see only create date here, but you can also look at what time also. Fine. So updated by update date. This is the extension to create. So whenever modification happens, right? Let us say in this particular console, we logged in as what? Admin. Yes or no? We logged in as admin, right? So whenever we create a record, whatever, right? It will be logged. against with admin user. Later on, if some other user logs in, right? If they perform a change, then same record you will see updated by different from creator. Creator is what? Admin. Updated by some other user. Remember that simple example. But for the first time, creator updated both will be same. Remember that. Yeah. And last update date. What does it mean? It's the most recent date when this particular record got updated. Remember. Yeah. So let us say we added a record yesterday and we modified a record today with the same user, let us say, but create date will be different from last update date. If that happened, if not, create date, last update date will be same first time, right? So that's it. Now the important column. So whenever you get a question in between, right, please stop and ask question, guys, so that everyone understands. Yeah? So if you try to ask out of scope questions, right, so others will get into confusion mode. Yeah, so it's better to ask context specific questions. Yeah? So now we got another system column, which is what consolidation indicator. What does it mean? As the name suggests, consolidation, right? So which means, remember, in order to create a master data or survive data, whatever, so it's a master data. So it has to undergo different levels, in the sense new record or queued for match, queued for merge, and master data. So where do we have this track? So that is where we have consolidation indicator, which has got pre-built numbers 9, 4, 3, 2, 1. Each indicator value has got a meaning. 4 indicates what? A new record. Let me try to put this. If some are new, right? If I just talk about it, they may not understand. For experienced people, it's okay. Yeah. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and 9, right? So what is the 4, guys? 4 indicates what? So new record. Correct, no?
Yes.
Yes. So next 3 indicates what? Good for
Match.
match. Yes. Then this one.
Queued
Good
for
for
merge.
yes, perfect. And this one is for what?
Golden
Golden
record.
record.
Yes, consolidated. Right? Yes, sir. Yeah. So golden record is not the right word to use now. Yeah. But I can use consolidated. Yeah. When to use golden, I'll come to that. So 9, what is meant by 9?
On
Pending,
hold.
pending, hold.
Pending.
Yes, if the record is kept on hold, yeah, on hold actually, yeah, fine. Oh, pending is different, huh? So let's use the right terms, guys. No, right MDM terms to be precise. No, so whatever Informatica MDM says, let us stick to that. Pending is a different. So, so that's in different context we use. We'll come to that. There's some other indicator to talk about it. Yeah, yeah. So these things are clear, right? So 4 is a new.
Narasimha, on hold meaning for what? I mean, what would it
Yeah,
hold for?
yeah, I'll explain one by one. Yeah. So
Okay.
let me come from the top. Just to answer a question, let us say, so we got data for today's business. Yeah. Now, data steward has taken a look at that particular record, and steward he expected one sort of data, but we got some other sort. In such cases, steward would take a call to place this particular record on hold. That's one example. I'll explain some more examples to the top. Is that okay? Yeah. Fine. I've just answered a question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine. So now let us start from the beginning. So first thing is what we can see 4, right? 4 means what? A new record. Now tell me from where and all you'll get to see a new record. One, we can get it from what sources, like a landing, staging, whatever. From staging, you'll get a data onto the base object table. And we talked about data flow process, right? Yes or no? Landing, staging, loading. When you run the load job, let's say initial load example, you'll get a data onto the base object table. First time, it will be a new record. And against that record, you will have indicator value, which is what? 4. I hope it is clear. First example, right? Second, remember, we can also add a record directly onto a base object table. So because we are talking about base object table, right? Yes or no? I can use this term now, right? So which means, so we can, if you add a new record directly onto a base object table, that time also the indicator value will be 4. You know? Second example. And third, from outside MDM hub, people can also what? Add a record with any application, SIP based application or any other application, even some outside guys also, right? If they have access to add a record. In that case also, you'll have indicator value 4, right? And another option is what? We have bulk loaders. From outside also we can do bulk loading data onto this hub. In that case also, so newly added records will have the indicator value is what? 4. So these are the cases where the indicator value will be 4. Yeah, I hope it is clear to everyone. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Next, let us say queued for match. Yeah. So remember, so if you want to create a consolidated or good record, it has to undergo different phases. We talked about it. Now, when you run a match job, let's take match job or some match from anywhere. Let's take within hub itself or hub console itself. We have executed a match job. Then what happens? This particular indicator value would be converted from 4 to 3, 3 to 2 as a result of match. Yeah, which means what? The result of match is going to be the indicator value 2. Yes or no? Which indicates what? This particular record has undergone as part of what? Match process. Remember that. In between, 3 will come in. But when only 3 comes in, I'll come to that. Yeah. This is clear, right? At the end of match process, indicator value will be 2. Yeah. Now the next question, are we going to retain these matching records as it is in the hub? Yes or no? Answer is what? No. Because our end goal is what? To create a good copy. So for that, we need to consolidate. Consolidate means combine. Combine what? If you have any matching records, we need to combine them and create a single copy, which we call consolidated record or a good record or master data, we can say. No? So if you have matching records, let's say 1 and 1, 2 records where there is a value 1, example value 1, value 1, sorry, value 1. So both or one of them will be survived. Yeah? But result will be only one, either first record or second record will be survived. But on what basis one of the record would get survived, right? So that's going to be the question. I'll talk about it because I didn't talk many factors to answer that question. For now, I can just remember one of the record will be survived. So which we call consolidated record or master data. Just remember that. So that's where, so against a record, you can see indicator value will be 1. So for now, I can just remember it's a master data. Clear, right? So that's about 4321 on hold. Yeah. So remember, guys, so when this particular on hold part comes in. I gave one example only. Let me talk about some more here. So let us say we get bunch of records from anywhere. So we don't care from where the records have come from. What we care here is the status of the record, right? So now the question, are we going to focus this particular on hold during match or a merge or during arrival of data? Answer is what? Answer is what guys? When you need to focus on placing the record on hold or not. Can someone answer this question? When you need to think, when the arrival the first time, or when the record undergoes as part of match and merge, or after match, or after some other process. So when do you need to focus this?
Before match.
Okay, usually, so we focus on this placing a record on hold or not, either before match or after match also. I'll talk about both. Yeah. So before match, normally rare occurring scenario. After match is the most widely occurring scenario. Because see, what is our end goal here? To create a master copy. To create when data steward part would come into picture after match. Yes or no? So which means, let us say there could be some records which are queued for manual merge. I think we talked about as part of data flow process, right? Yes or no? Let us take the records or 10 records which are queued for manual merge. Then data steward would take a look at those records and they would take a decision whether to place the record or records on hold or not. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Is it clear, guys? After match. So they'll just go to merge manager in hub console, or from outside there are data governance applications, even there also they can see it. That's a different story where we see. Let's say we are looking at hub console. Let's talk about hub console. In hub console, they'll open the merge manager tool. They'll look at all the records which are queued for manual merge. Yeah. So that's it. Then after looking at those records, they'll take a call whether to place the record or records on hold or not. That's one perspective. Second, before match, that's a rarely occurring scenario. In case if customers or sources, if you are suspicious about source system data, yeah, in such cases, so we'll request steward to take a look at the records before match. It's very what you call laborious task actually, this task, because they'll have lots of records. So they have to look at those records and they will take a call, like which can be kept on hold or not. Yeah? That's a rarely happening scenario. But if you want, we can do it. Yeah? But most of the cases, I would say more than 95% cases after match, we would do this. Yeah? So that's the second thing. Can you think of third scenario, guys, when you can place the record as on hold? Yeah. Can you place the record on hold even after creation of master data or not? Answer is what? Yes. So which means though we create master data, then let us say due to some out of merge, master data got created. Yeah. Now let us say due to some what you call wrong rules. Rules could be anything, trust, validation, whatever, right? Any wrong rules, master data got created, which is a wrong one. Now, so we need to get it rectified. In such cases, we'll place that record or set of records on hold. After that, we'll try to what? Trace it back, like why it went wrong. That's going to be the third scenario. But out of these three, most happening scenario will be what? After match. Remember that. Yeah? If you do after master data means there is something wrong from our side while building what? Rules, which means you have not taken care of all the permutations of the combinations rules. That's it. Yeah. So that's about what we call consolidation indicator. Yeah. Now let us talk about, yes, please.
Let's see my one question around that.
Yeah.
So when we put record on a hold before match, okay, will it still participate in the match
No, no.
match operations?
Yeah, that's a simple. Yeah,
Or
probably I'll answer that question, Dayanand, as part of when you talk about upstate indicator. Yes, answer is what? No. See, by default, the records will undergo as part of match active state records only. That's a default behavior. For now, you can just remember that. I'll elaborate. Dayanand. Yeah.
okay.
Right. Yeah. So, because I need to talk about what's one more what we call state management framework, then you'll get the right or complete answer. Right?
Hey
Okay.
Narasimha, this possible values of consolidation indicator, can we see it anywhere into the table as more as a lookup table?
Yeah. We have separate table called consolidation, the separate table. So we can see that in the model itself. If you go to
All right.
relationship, so I'll show
Okay.
anyway. Here you can see it. Can you see here? MDM consolidation type. Anyway,
Got
I'll
it.
talk about
Yes.
it. I'll talk about
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's fine. So yeah, so now let us talk about other system columns. Can you see, guys? Deleted indicator, deleted by, delete date. So these three columns are related to what? Deletion of any record. So deleted indicator value will be, so will be what? -1. Remember. So which means, so -1 indicates what we call, or let us say, we can also have our own custom indicator value. Yeah? So which will indicate deleted or not. Yeah? But the question, whether the record got deleted or not. Yeah? So you'll have flags, let us say. Yeah? Then who deleted that particular record and when it got deleted. So these three system columns will be used to take care of what? Deletion of any record. Clear, right? So that's it. Now let us talk about last row ID system. So we need to talk about what is a system, and what is a row ID, then what is row ID system, then last row ID system. So we need to talk about three concepts here. Yeah? So let us talk about that. Yeah. So what is a system, guys? Yeah? System. In which
Source.
context to use source system? Exactly. Yeah. So why we use the term source? From where the data gets originated. Yes or no? No. So that's where we use what? Source. So we can also have even target also, not necessarily source always. So we can also have target system. Why? Because let us say we got data from two source systems, namely Axis Bank and HDFC Bank. And when we created master data, we can say, let us say, HDFC Bank. So let's say we have got the server record that we got it from HDFC, which means the source is different from particular target system. So even we can also use source systems for what? Tracking. Just remember. So in this case, let us say, in this context, we are using what? Source. What is the next thing we talked about it? Row ID. What does it mean? Every row we have to have way to identify in unique way with some numbers or with some alphanumeric or alpha. So normally this type is what? Cat. Yeah? Fine. So then we have got row ID system. Remember, what does it mean? We are trying to combine this. So which means every source system will have some unique way to identify. Yeah. So that's where you'll have what? Row ID system. So which means just by using row ID system, one can identify from which source system the record has come from. Yeah. So that's it. Now the next, we talked about, I think this is what last row ID system. Yes or no? So can someone answer this question? I think we talked about three, right? Source, row ID system. No? Last row ID system. Meaning what? Can someone guess or can answer this?
So it is the row ID system which updated that record lastly or most recently.
Most recent, exactly, yeah. So most recent, right? Remember. So then where do we have other ones, previously processed row ID systems? You can ask that question, right? Yeah. So to answer that, remember guys, Informatica MDM maintains what row ID systems, past and current. Remember, but base object table maintains only most recent. That is why we use what last word systems. Yeah? And past, we also maintain that in a separate table. What is that table? I think we talked about it, right? Extract table, because all the source system one information and tracking would be done by using what xref or crossref. Yeah, I'll elaborate that. I've just answered in the current context. Yeah. So that's it. So last modified row system only can be seen in BO. Remember. So that's it about last word system. I hope it is clear. Yeah. Now dirty indicator. So this I think on tokenization part. Can I talk about it? Yeah. I'll just talk about one or two lines. Remember, guys, there is a concept of tokenization. One line answer to the tokenization is what? It's a process of divisioning input data into what? Multiple tokens based on encryption or no encryption. Forget about it. I'll elaborate later. So dirty indicator flag would tell us whether the record got tokenized or not. Just remember that. Yeah. That definition is fine for now. Yeah. So why not? There are all questions, right? I'll answer that when you talk about tokenization process. Yeah. Now I think Dayanand was trying to ask question, right? Now someone else was asking question. So interaction ID. Remember, guys, this particular flag is applicable for pending state records. So before I talk about, let me talk about this. Half state indicator. Yeah. So that order they would have kept it in opposite actually. So half state ending. Remember, guys, in MDM, we got what state management framework, right? So state management framework, where we can keep track of the states, of states of any record within MDM hub by using what state management framework. Yeah? So this we can discuss, one from application perspective, second from hub perspective. Let's say we'll not talk about this now. I'll talk about from hub answer because we are in hub, right? So I'll elaborate this when we go out of MDM hub, that application part. Yeah? So in hub context, state management framework will be used what you call in order to say that whether this particular record is active, pending, or deleted. Yeah. So active, pending, or deleted, right? So active, there are some numbers actually. So 1, 0, -1. Forget about numbers. Remember, guys, by default, whenever we get the data onto this base object table, it will be marked as what? Active. Yeah. Now I'm answering a question. Whenever or any record or records are what active state, which means active half state indicator value, right? Then those records would undergo as part of what? Match process. Remember this. Yeah? That's a default behavior of MDM hub. That's it. No, if you don't enable anything, right? This is a default behavior. Only active state records would be contributed to identify the matching records. Yeah. Now I was trying to talk about there is a one more system column, right? Which is interaction ID, which means there is an option within base object. I'll talk about it. Protect, match, and pending records. If you enable that checkbox, which means if you enable that option, then even pending state records would also undergo as part of match process. If you don't enable that, these pending state records also would not be part of the match process. Clear, right? So deleted records, they will not undergo as part of what we call match process. Yeah. So in deleted also we got hard deletion, soft deletion. I'll come to that later because we are just talking about starting point, right? So too much at the entry stage itself is not a good thing. Yeah. So that's it about offset indicator and interaction ID. I hope now Dayanand you got the answer, right? Yeah. Guys, you can hear me, right? Yes or no?
Yes, Nasim.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So now let us talk about content metadata data indicator. Remember, whenever the record got tokenized, you will have the content, which means some data associated to that, right? So we need to have a way to take care of it. That's where we have another system column. Yeah? So that's about system column. So just to summarize, by default, whenever we create a base object table, empty, it would contain one primary key, which is already object, certain system columns. We just talked about at high level, right? Like what those columns would do. Now, the next question. So we need to start getting into adding user-defined or business columns. Yeah? Let us try to click on plus button on the right top, guys. I hope all of you could be able to see my mouse pointer, right? So green color plus button. Yeah? So please click on that. So we'll use very simple. Yes, please.
Narasimha, I have one question actually. So when we checked in this show system column, by default, for few columns, we see that the nullable is enabled and other it is not. So how, I mean, it's MDM decides or how it is, how it decides that?
MDM, they themselves, see, these are audit columns, right? So
Right.
when they designed this product, right, they have just decided they just kept it. We don't have any control on this.
Okay.
It's for auditing only, yeah. Whatever they say, we just have to follow that, yeah. But yeah, once you look at the real data, right, you will see the real essence of it, yeah. We're just talking about theory only, right? When you look at the data, you will really see that, okay, it makes sense, yeah. Fine. Anyway, it makes sense, yeah. Fine. Okay. Fine. So now let us try to look at adding our own columns. Let's use simple columns to understand. Then we'll talk about real business driven columns. Yeah. Click on plus, add simple one. Let's say C1. Yeah. So column one, display name, physical name is same. But in the backend table, you will see physical column names, guys. Remember. So display might be different, physical might be different also. Yeah. So, and then nullable, these properties we have control because our own user different column, right? We can configure like whatever you want. Let me talk about at high level. If you want null, enable this, enable null. Data type, this is a type system what is supported by MDM Hub, where we can see character varchar, n character for what you call international, and then we can see n varchar, date, number, integer. In simple terms, it supports only three types. One is what? String, date, and numeric. That's it. Yeah, you got right. Broadly, you can categorize into only three. String, which means 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all part of string. Then second, number, numeric, sorry, integer, they're part of numeric, and date is the third one. That's it. Yeah. So even date is also, you can just take out. We can take out cat actually. Yeah, fine. That's okay. So now the length we can change if you want it. Let's say 100, whatever. Now precision also, if you want, we can just add it. Scale also we can take. It's similar to, I think we talked about meta properties, right? I think I talked about that. Yeah, these are all meta properties for base object table. Yeah. So precision scale we know has defined. So this we can see the importance of it when you try to configure what you call lookup. We'll see that. And then default, if you want to supply, you can supply, else no. Trust, if you want to enable the trust for this particular base object table associated this column, then only trust property. You know? So I think we just talked about definition. We didn't elaborate. We'll see that. Unique again. So primary key means what? Unique and not null. So which means enable this and disable this. So then it will become a primary key. Yes or no? Yeah. So, but it is violating, right? This guy. Row ID object that saying is a primary key, but unique is not enabled. This kind of small things, issues will be there always. Yeah. So next is what? Validation. So which means in case if you want to define validation rules, enable this, then start defining. Once if we don't enable, right, we cannot add validation rules, yeah, for this particular column. And nulls global business at GB ID. Yeah. So which is global within that sub means, let us say we have one top level identifier which can be used to keep track of bottom level identifier like SSI, or in India, let's say UID, yeah, or Aadhaar card, right? Aadhaar card number. Within that, we can have PAN numbers or customer IDs or whatever, right? So those numbers are normal row IDs, and Aadhaar, let us say GBID. Just remember that. We'll elaborate as we go on. Yeah. Puttable. What is a puttable, guys? Puttable. To perform what? Put, like insert, update, or delete, or whatever, right? Especially we use that option for real time, but for batch normally we don't use it. Yeah. Fine. Let us try to add some more columns. C2, C3. So that's it. So assuming that we have not added any primary key column in this case, yeah, and then save it. Yeah. Fine. So I think we have created one base object table. So, but from where we have come in here, model, right? Model means visual representation, right? So where do you have visualization in this MDM hub? Yeah. In schema viewer, right? Yes or no? See, every word will have meaning, guys. That's what I normally talk. Yeah. So it's a very technical word. Yeah. Can you see here? Be your customer. So we added C1, C2, C3, all the user defined columns. Yeah? So that's it. I hope we're all on the same page. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Now, so we can still create master data based on a single base object table. Yeah. But usually it would not be the case in reality, right? So let us go with what getting into creation of another base object table so that we can build the linkage. Yeah. Before we get there, so I think Umang was trying to ask question, right? You can see the detailed model for this particular base object table alone within this relationships. Can you see here? So this is a base object table where we can see all the system columns followed by user different columns. I think we talked about all of them. Plus, so can you see the linkage between consolidation type with consolidation indicator within Vivo. That's one thing. And second, we can also see the linkage between what I call cross-ref table. Can you see? Whenever we create a base object table, MDM creates one more table which we call xref table. There are many more tables. In this context, we are talking about only one, which is xref, BO customer cross-reference table. Yeah? And the linkage between the base object table with cross-ref table based on what? Row ID object. Yeah? So which means it's just like a table which is derived from base object table. Yeah? So why, we can ask question, why we need to have another table? Who can answer that question? I think I already said it. Why we need this separate table, guys? To keep track of source system
The
stuff.
systems, yeah.
Exactly. That's why we need to focus on one, pick a source object, second, row ID system, and third, source last update date. So these are the three important columns related to what? Source systems. Yeah? Fine. So rest of the columns, I think you can see on C2, C3, other things are derived from base object table, but there are some extra columns. We'll come to that later. Yeah? So that's it about base object table specific link tables. Yeah? Now, so let us create another base object table. Yeah. So go to
Hey,
base.
Nasima,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
before we go there, like a quick question. So here we are taking example of customer data model, right?
Yeah.
So would MDM generate its own customer ID?
Customer ID means row ID in that context, yes. Or else so we can treat row ID as customer ID. But in reality, we normally get customer ID from the source systems. You know?
Okay, so MDM will not hold its own customer ID. Is that a correct statement?
No, no, it will not. Yeah. Because let us say, let's take one practical example. Let's take a bank. Bank will have account number, first ID, and other unique IDs also they maintain based on the bank. So this number, we should get it from the source, which is a bank. Let's say SBI. Example, right, Uma? Yeah.
Mhm.
So that is the actual number will be used by source system. So if we create by ourselves, right, that is just a reference number for MDM only, nothing else. Example, in this case, OID is just a reference number for us to identify uniqueness of each record. But actuality will be based on what source system, which is a customer ID. That we should get it from the source system. Right? If they don't provide, you yourselves can generate. Yeah? But that's not the right thing. Yeah? Right? Okay, Uma? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let us try to create another base object table. Go to base objects and right click and add item, guys. I think someone asked a question about Informatica platform. This is where you can see option, guys. Yeah. But anyway, I'm just answering that question. I said I'll show an option to Informatica platform. This is where you can see. Yeah. Fine. Add item. So now we can supply what the Vivo address. Yeah. So customer address, right? One-to-many relationships. Yeah. So I think we talked about it. Every base object will have a prefix of C underscore, and every BO would point to data and index table spaces. And why we have this particular address base object table? To maintain n number of addresses for each customer, like a permanent address, temporary address, or in-transit address, or whatsoever. Yeah. So that's why we have this particular table. Yeah. And enable this checkbox just to make a address space object table accessible outside MDM. Yeah, that's it. So it's done, guys. All. Yeah, just a name only. Say okay. Huh? Done all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that we have created two independent base object tables. Independent, right? Yes or no? So so we have got some other properties, enable history, timeline. Yeah. So yes, there are advanced properties. I'll come to that later. So because they are not advisable stuff, that's that.
Yeah, Natima, if you can means like letter itself or brief little bit on the timeline thing.
Okay. So then I'll not talk about everything. Yeah. So yeah, then let me talk then. So look at here, guys. Enable history. So by default, history will not be enabled for any base object table. So meaning there is a separate table called view underscore hist, yeah, where it maintains historical data. Historical means n number of runs that you process data, right? All the runs data will be kept in a separate table, which we call history table. Yeah. But if you try to enable, right, the system will get bloated, which results in what? Performance issues. That is why by default it will not be enabled. But if we deal with what? Mission critical data, then we can enable it. Yeah. There the performance is not the problem. The problem is what? Critical of the data. That's the first thing. And second thing is what? Look at here. Timeline, right? So when you try to create master data, yeah, so that time this timeline is going to play very key role. You know, so which means, so let us say there is in that we have got effective and ineffective timelines. We got so some other subcategories where based on this timeline also data steward who take a call whether to perform merge or not. That's a one point that we consider as per timeline. So not only that, in case if you are not what you call happy with the pre-built timeline, we can also define our own time-based attributes through which we can perform what you call match and merge. And third, by default, you'll have dynamic timeline, which means Informatica MDM itself, it would take care of. Can you see here? So timeline requires state management and history to be enabled. That's why I covered first history part. So we need to enable that, and state management also we need to enable. Yeah. So then, so dynamic timeline can be used as part of match and merge. So because your state also is going to play very key role as part of what? Match and merge. They're all dependent ones. Yeah. So which means we need to enable state here. So I'll talk about all the dependent things for this particular. Yeah. Can you see here? Enable state management. This one, history, should be enabled. So anyway, I'll talk about all these advanced properties later. I just answered a question. Yeah. So timeline for now, I can just remember is going to play a very key role to perform match and merge. I'll elaborate in detail because I will talk about even other properties of advance to answer this question in detail. Right? So we'll deviate the topic if we start getting in there. Right? Okay.
Hey, Narasimha, from the definition, it looks very critical property, right? Then why is it not checked by default?
Now, because no, history. See, we have to think from the performance perspective also, right? So because if you have too much of data, even for normal, let's say, non-mission critical data, unless it will take, it will what you call eats up lots of resources, which will hamper performance, right? So to cut down that, so we don't enable this history, whatever, right? Yes or no, Uma? But yes,
I
you are
see.
right.
So,
If it
okay,
is a
so
critical layer,
performance, it
exactly.
is a
Performance,
performance intensive exercise.
exactly. Yeah. If you
That's
have
fine.
enough
Okay.
resources where performance is not a criteria for us, in that case, yes, we enable, then timeline, then we'll also consider other advanced properties. I'll talk about it, like how all these properties are going to play key role. Yeah, fine.
So is there a guideline that says Okay, only in these scenarios enable the history.
Yes, I'll show. What do you call, send that documentation. Yeah. Yes, we have that. Umang.
Okay,
Right?
that would help.
When
Thanks.
when not enabled. Yes, you are right. Yeah. Okay. So fine. Now let us try to what you call get into what another base object table, which is address, right? So start adding columns. I'm trying to add irrelevant columns. Let's say irrelevant means in the context based on customer base object. That's what I meant. So start adding other columns. Address part 1, address part 2, address part 3, whatever. Yeah. Let's take this. Yeah. Yeah. So now that we know how to create a second base object table. Yeah. So where do you see the effect of this, guys, in model? Schema viewer,
The
right?
viewer. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can't see. Huh? Just refresh. Go to schema viewer. Refresh. Actually, it should come automatically. Small bug actually. From the beginning, it is there. No, they have not fixed it. So we can see two independent base object tables, right? Yes or no? Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. Now, so we need to build a linkage between these two tables. So to do that, we can use what? Primary key of one table that will become as foreign key to another, right? So to do that, so we can use what? Relationships. Right click on relationships and click on add relationship, guys, all. Yeah. Right. So here, as I said earlier, so we have not added any primary key. So let us say we are using A1 from view address, row ID object from view customer. Irrelevant. That's what I said. Irrelevant thing, right? It doesn't have any linkage, but to perform the right linkage, so we need to add the corresponding primary key as part of view customer. Then let's say address one, or let us say CID, customer ID and customer ID here. Then build a linkage between these two. Yeah, that is the best way, right? Let's say row ID object is a customer ID. A1 is also a customer ID. Yeah. And then say okay, fine. And it will create associative index by default, guys. That's a default behavior. If you don't want, you can just uncheck. Say okay. Now, oh, data length cannot be created.
Nasima, we would need customer foreign key, right? In address. Align
Yes.
to that. Right?
Yeah. So data type or data length are different for the columns. Is it not matching?
Yeah, because row ID having 100 and A1 we perform 50, I think.
Also,
Yes. So row ID 100. Huh? Let us see. 14, right?
Yeah, that is why default 100 and it's
Yeah.
here.
1 sec. And A1 is what? 1 sec.
so A1 is 50 and row ID by default should be 14 only.
14. That's correct.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Clear.
type is the main thing. Type.
Type is actually char and varchar is not matching. So that's
Exactly. This is a main problem, right? So can we edit this, guys?
We need a foreign key in address table.
Right.
Ah,
So I'm just, why are
no,
we
Yeah.
you are
aligning
directly
this A1?
sorry.
Why are we aligning this data column to a primary
Just
To
key?
the
to
row ID
understand,
object.
no. Just to understand how to build a model. I said irrelevant. This is an irrelevant
Hmm.
column. I said it earlier, right?
Okay.
Okay, fine. Now let's try to add, let's say CID. Huh? Assume that's a row ID. Then what is the right type we need to use, guys, here? Char,
Char 14.
Care 40.
yeah, that's fine, right? There, okay.
Hey, Narasimha,
Why
so
we should,
one
why we should
observation,
match? Yes, please.
why we had to delete and create new? Why could we not change the existing one?
Okay, that's a good question. I think I said it earlier. Remember, when you try to edit, right, you can only edit description. You cannot change the column name or whatever. Yes or no? Yeah. So which means what, when you try to create a model, right, you should make sure that all have been taken care. Yeah. If it is not taken care, we have to take out all the impacted, what you call, areas will be taken out. If you delete, if you modify, it would not happen. So that's why we need to delete and recreate.
So if table has data, then it's a problem, no?
It's a very big problem. Yes, in that case, then we need to go to backend and change it. That is possible. From front end, we don't have that provision. Yeah.
Okay.
Backend is possible. Yeah, fine. Now let us try to save it. Yeah, it's
So this is
possible.
a very critical exercise.
Exactly. So actually, in the backend, right? So that's MDM, we should be very good in what database. So backend, we do many things, but it's very what you call responsible job, because if you make some change or mistake, right, there are a lot of impact. So we need to understand all the dependent tables. Any change that you do one table, right? So we need to make sure that all the different tables have been taken care. So we'll talk about dependent ones. Like let's say any change that you do base object, where and all we need to take care of changes, like cross ref or something else. We have some more LC. Fine. So now
Okay.
let us try to refresh it. Yeah. So now we can see this. Now next question is what? Let us try to build the linkage. Right? Yeah. Now see it got changed. Anyway, we'll see in the top level diagram, which is schema viewer. Yeah. So here you can see what customer and address. There's a linkage between these two tables, right? So is it a
So
one-to-one
Nasima,
or
where do
many-to-many?
we define this is if it is 1:1 or 1:many relationship?
So we
Because
don't
here
have
we
that.
did not define.
Yes, by default from. So we define view address repeated relationship, right? Yes or no? That's what we did, right? Yes or no? So which
Correct.
means this is going to be the two. From is going to be BO customer. So there is a one customer with n number of addresses. That's a default actually. So yes, as such, we don't have any way to define one-to-one, one-to-many, zero-to-many, whatever in MDM hub. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. So now let us look at simple model we did it. Yeah. So we can take one exercise where you'll have, can we have one base object table which can have linkage with what? Two other base object tables. So just try to build that or try to perform that exercise after the session. Right? So there's one more. Can we build many-to-many relationship between one base object table with other base object table? Answer is yes. Try to do that. If you don't get it, I'll show one. So based on dependent base object table, you can do it, but yes, you can try that. Two exercises, yeah. Fine. So that's about the starting point of model. And we'll get into some more aspects as we go on. Yeah? Now, once we do that, right? Can you see here, guys? So here we could able to say BO address and BO customer, right? So earlier we have not seen the BO customer. Now we can see because we have built a relationship between CID from address base object table with OID object from bigger customer. Because of that, this table appeared here. That's it. Yeah. So that's the starting point. With this, Polly will take a break. After we come back, we'll talk about, we'll start with another topic. Yeah. Is it fine? Umang and others?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take a break. Yeah. 10-15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, so can we continue, guys? I think you're all ready, right? Yes or no?
Yes, Narsimha, let's go ahead.
Yeah, fine. So
Yes,
now,
yes. Yes, yes.
let me try to share my desktop. Yeah. So now the next topic is going to be what? So we talked about the data flow process, right? Yes or no? So which includes sources, landing, staging, loading, match, merge, and publish. Yeah. So we talked about multiple layers as part of the data flow process. Yeah. So now let us try to perform one by one with examples. Yeah. So what are the first and foremost thing that we need to take care as part of data flow process, guys? Either batch or real time doesn't matter. Yeah. What is the first thing we need to do?
Define the source systems.
Yes. Landing tables. Yeah. Source systems part would come in when we get into what stage. No. Anyway, yes. Source also we can define, but yeah, landing is going to be starting point. Yeah. Or source systems, landing, staging. That's also fine. Yeah. So let us try getting into what? Adding the landing tables. Yeah. So let us try to go to schema manager tool, compress base objects, expand landing tables. Yeah. So you can see landing table section, right? So right click on this and add item here. Yeah. Now you can create. So C underscore LND underscore, let's say CRM. Yeah. That's the first landing table. So I got some EJB problems. I'm trying to log. One second. Yeah, sorry guys. So there's one from my server side. Okay, so let us try to create a landing table. So right click, add item. Let's say here LND underscore CRM. So please apply this. So, and here also it is same as earlier in the sense every table should point to the data and index table spaces. So let's say this landing table will be used to deal with what? CRM source system. Yeah. Now, can someone answer this question? Secure resource is disabled here. Can you guess the reason why, guys?
Because it is always necessary to access this table from outside MDM to load the data? Or
Yes. See, because yeah, it is we are on the receiver side. Yes or no? In the sense, from outside, we are trying to get it. Yes or no? That is why we don't need to make again this landing table available for outside. Yeah. From staging, yes. So we do some manipulation within MDM. Only those things only would require what? Secure resource. Remember. So because the entry point, this will be derived from the source systems. Yeah. Say okay.
This is the landing table for customer that we
Yes.
created.
Yes, Keshav. Okay. L&S CRM. Yeah. So by default, I think this is greater, empty is greater, right, guys? All yes or no? Now, by default, you will have last update date in this particular landing table, right? So if you don't want, we can delete also. So you can just click on minus, but it's better to maintain. So I'll click on plus, and let's add similar columns like what we did in a base object table. It's not mandatory, just to maintain the consistency between the base object table and landing table. So we are using this. Yeah.
So only C2 and C3, right? Narasimha, only C2 and C3, right? We deleted the C1 from view.
Yes. Yeah, we can map C1 to CID. That is fine. Huh?
Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
So
It's
do we
not
also have to
that.
maintain the data type and length as the previous one?
Yes. So yeah, C1 character, right? 14. Yeah. So better to maintain similar type and length also. But again, in this case, it is not mandatory because in between we can perform cleansing, right? There we can take care of these things, manipulations. Yeah. But yes, better to maintain. Okay. And save it. Yeah, one more question I forgot. See, here we are trying to what you call do it manually, right? Like adding columns or whatever. Yeah. So another way is what? Can you see here there is an import schema. So we can click on import schema. So if we already have the tables, right? Then we can supply host name, Oracle service, port number, schema name, username and password. With that, we can just select any table from specified schema. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see that. So we are starting, let us say, with adding columns manually and save it. So that's it. Yeah.
Can we try out for another landing table that import option as well?
Yeah, we can do that. So let us add one more landing table. So landing. So I don't know whether we have table or not. Yeah, we just put test. Yeah, just to answer a question. Say okay. Import. So we need credentials. Huh? Let us try. One second. Let me try first. So localhost service name MDM, I think. MDM underscore sample. Let us see. We need to see service. Is it set?
We can use SID as well, right? If we have Oracle connection.
That's what we're seeing. One second. ORCL. It's not. Yeah, 1 second. This is ORCL. Okay. Yes, it's working. So you can supply these details. Yeah. So I got it from services list. So here we have. So you can see Oracle service ORCL, right? This one. This is service name. Yeah. Fine then. So
What's
let
the
us.
password?
Sorry.
What's the password have you used?
Yeah. Let me just. Yeah. Let me come from the top. Host name is a local host. Oracle service ORCL. Password is a default. Sorry. Port is a default 1521. Schema name, username, password. They're all same. MDM underscore sample. All lowercase characters. Okay. I hope it's working. Please check it out. Should work because I already tried.
So in general, when we try in our system with using SID of Oracle, that time the username and password is our Oracle username and password, right?
Yes, that's different. Yeah.
And the port is
See,
from there.
it depends. It depends. Like some people follow defaults, some will follow. Here we are following MDM specifics, right? So we are using these things. Yeah.
So I don't see any table in the second step. If you press
Oh, really?
next. Yeah.
Click on next. Yeah, here you can see all the tables.
Yeah, I don't see any. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Yes, here you can just select any table. Let's have this selected C address table. So here you can see what n number of what columns. Let's say country name, street type, country code, whatever, right? You can just select some or all and then say finish. So this way you can just create. So this answer to the question, madam. Yeah, I've just shown it for testing purpose. Yeah, fine.
So Narasimha, we can import only landing table, right? Not the view.
No, it's just
column.
structure. Remember, it's just a structure. Structure can be obtained from any table. We don't care. It's a staging or BO or landing or some other. We don't care. So what we are expecting here, just a structure, column name, column type, those things. That's what matters here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
But here we imported from base object columns only. That's what we did, no? But anyway, we don't worry about that. Yeah. Okay. And
Narasimha, for me at second step, I don't see any table.
Oh, really?
It's coming blank. Yeah.
Same credentials you followed. Huh? Let me try again. So MDM underscore sample and password is also same. Fine. I think you follow the same thing, right? Words here 1521 MDM sample. Correct? No? No?
Oh,
so
I can connect.
Click on next, so you can see all the tables. So you can share your desktop if you're okay.
I think I didn't give schema name. That's why I can see.
Okay,
now.
that's a problem, I think. Yeah. Fine. So that's it. Yeah. So I think we have done it already.
Can you please show me quickly LND CRM columns?
C1, C2, C3.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And in LND test, which table you have copied from backend?
From address.
Okay.
Just for testing purpose. Yeah. You can take any table.
Okay, thanks.
Fine. So now landing table is ready, right? Next is what? We need to create a staging table. To create a staging table, so we have to have what? Source systems. For that, please select Systems and Trust All. So here we can add source systems. By default, you will have admin source system with the primary key of sys0, which means in the backend table where you will have MRM system or C underscore records underscore system, where you will have the content related to each source system. Yeah, fine. Let us see that anyway. So right click on system, guys, all. Yeah. So right click on systems and select add system. Yeah. So we can supply the name like CRM and then CRM. Yeah. Done. Then say okay. Yeah. So likewise, you can add any number of source systems. So right click on source again, system, sorry, and say add system. So you can supply system name like a DNB. Yeah. So DNB source. And then say okay. That's it. Yeah. So on the right side, you can see properties. This is a primary key here. So in this case, CRM. So system case sys0. Yeah.
Narasimha, one question, like what is this state management override system? What is this property?
Yeah.
There's
so
a property.
This, yeah. So this is required in case if you are following what state management for the base object table. So which means, so we can allow what is called steward or some other authorized user to change the state that we get from this particular source system. For that, we can enable the checkbox. Yeah? Or else can disable. Yeah? Let us enable it anyway.
No, I still didn't get it. Like, so for
We
example,
are allowing what is called state change that we get from this particular source, like CRM or whatever, name, DNP, admin, whatever, right? Yeah, that's it.
So is it about, let's say we have active record in
Exactly.
BO and I want to
Change it to pending.
make it pending or inactive from landing
Exactly.
to, sorry, staging to BO. Okay.
Exactly. Right.
But if we don't check this option, will my SIF calls work? Like if I delete record from E360 or something.
Then the voice is low. It's my.
Sorry.
Yeah. Can you please repeat that?
If we do not check that option, state management option,
Okay.
for
It's not
CRM,
allowed to perform change against the source system. Then.
even from any external SIF calls, or
Exactly. External SIF also.
will it allow or not? I mean,
It will not allow.
clear. Okay, okay.
If you enable, it will allow. If you don't, it will not allow. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. So now, so let us start getting into what schema. Now, so where do we need to create the staging table? So we need to call back the data flow process. I think as we talked about earlier, right? There is a many to one correspondence between the staging with what? Base object table. Yes or no? Which is multiple staging tables data can be sent to one base object table. So which means, so we need to go to what? The corresponding base object table. Example, be a customer. Yeah. In that, we could able to see staging tables section. So please select that. Then right click on staging tables and say add staging table. Yeah. Now supply staging table name stg underscore CRM. Yeah. Now can you see here? So every staging table should point to what? The relevant source system. So that's why we define source systems. If you don't define any source system, right, it will not allow you to create a staging table. Probably guests can try after session, right? Delete all the source systems and try to create a staging table. It will ask question, add source systems. Yeah? Fine. So preserve source system keys, we'll see that later when we talk about loading stuff. So now, can you see here? So why we have this manual selection of the columns, guys? Why? Because let's say from one source system, we got 10 columns. Second source system, 20 columns. Yeah. So when we define the master data, what we define, guys? Can I try to recall? Common and core attributes. Yes or no? So which means common columns from multiple sources. Core attributes, business driven attributes. So for example, we have got, let us say, all three columns. They're all what key business data driven columns. So assuming that we are going to get similar columns plus some extra columns from other source. Out of them, C1, C2, C3 are going to be the core and common business columns from both the sources or n number of sources. Whereas there is a all option here. So select all columns in case if you want to select all, but I've just shown it manually. Say okay. Yeah. Cell update option is here. We'll see that later. Say okay. That's it. So now we can see here staging table, display name, physical name, C underscore, and pointing to CRM source system. Yeah. So later on also we can modify in case if you made a mistake to point to the wrong source system. So here you can change it to right source system. So that's it. Yeah. Fine. Done, guys, all?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. Now, the next question. So what next we need to do, guys? So we need to start applying cleansing operation because all set to go to what? To perform cleansing. To do that, we can go to what? Mappings tool. Yeah. So I think someone has some question. Can we build a mapping between n number of landing tables with staging? I think I answered that question. Yeah. Right click and say add mapping. So you can supply here meaningful name, let's say mapping underscore CR. Let's use caps. Yeah. So CRM cleansing. Yeah. Now we need to specify the landing table and staging table. This guy doesn't allow to select multiple landing tables, only one. Yeah. Because data combination should be done outside MDM hub. Yeah. And can you see secure resource enabled here? Because here we are trying to perform the manipulation within MDM hub. Now, if you want to make this manipulation available outside, then we can enable. Yeah. Manipulation means mapping. Yes. So now we got these properties. Now go to diagram. So here you can see what landing and staging. So landing, we got one system column is the last update date. In staging, we got multiple system columns. PK source, row ID, object, matched, delete index, whatever. So we'll see one by one. So it's empty now. Now we can try to build a mapping between these two tables. So right click on this mapping workspace. Here you can see auto mapping. Auto means if you have common columns on both the tables, they'll get mapped. Others, we need to map it manually. Yeah. So click on auto mapping. Can you see? Last update date, C1, C2, C3. They're all the common columns. Yeah. Now, if you try to save and run the mapping, is it going to work or not?
No, we haven't provided PK source, so.
Okay. So let us see that. Yeah. So before we run this, now let us try to call back the architecture of what we discussed. Now, when you run this particular mapping, what happens? Can you try to recall the data flow that we discussed as part of architecture? I think we talked about it. So what do we need here? If you run, right, it should take place some action. So who is going to perform that action? Server, right? What is that server that we need here? Client server.
Plain
Yes,
server.
server.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we need to configure that client server. It is not configured, right? So for that, we can go to process server where we can see one is already configured. If you don't have it, so we need to get it configured. If you want to modify, select this entry and click on edit button. Where can you see here? Enable cleanse operation. So make sure that this particular checkbox is enabled. Yeah, rest we'll see later. Yeah, because you're focusing only cleanse, right? And number of threads plus cleanse for cleanse operation by default we use 1. In case if we have many resources, then we can allocate more number of threads. And what is the cleanse mode, guys, here? Yeah, so cleanse mode, there are two modes actually. One, batch, and second, online. Yeah. So if you select this, then we are allowing cleanse server, which can be used for both online and batch. Yeah. So which means for batch operation, we can use cleanse server. For real time or near real time, or for testing purpose also we can use what? Cleanse server. Yeah. So that's it. And say, okay, rest is not relevant for us. No, we can ignore. Say, okay. Now server is ready, mapping is ready. Now and JBoss, all that, they're already there because we have already executed this JBoss, which is one of the container where we have already deployed this client server related year files, right?
Narasimha, one question on the cleanse server. If we enable online only, then for batch, we need to have different cleanse server.
No, we can change or we can add one more client server which is in batch. Yes.
So what is the recommendation? Like,
it depends. See, for example, if you want finite degree of parallelism, it's better to have multiple client servers. But if you're dealing with low volume of data, then there is no need to get into multiple client servers. It all depends on the
okay,
volume
so
of data system.
so if I have multiple, let's say 5 real-time applications, and I have 10 sources in the batch mode, significant sources, significant number of sources. So is it recommended to have a dedicated clean server for real-time applications and batch?
Yes. In that case, yes. It's better to have separate client servers, one for real time, one for online, other for yeah, you're right.
And it will, so real-time cleanse operations will handle implicitly, right? I don't need to specify the clean server, right, in any request.
Yes.
Or okay.
Yeah. And let's get into that tool. Yeah. So yeah, I think I was trying to talk about so how do you make sure that whether we got this client server is ready to use in this environment or not. In this environment means wherever we got application server, right? Within that, we should have client server deployed. Yeah. So now, so where is that JBoss installation? This is where we have, right? Within that, so we can go to standalone mode where we can see n number of year files, which means services which got deployed. So can you see here, Siberian MRM cleanse.here file, which indicates cleanse and match, which is deployed within the deployment location of JBoss. Now the next question. So remember, in case if you want to perform to answer a question, Diana, in another perspective. So we can also have multiple JBoss instances. One JBoss instance would take care of cleansing. Some other JBoss instance would take care of match. Another way, one JBoss instance can take care of what do you call batch. And some other JBoss instance real time. Third JBoss instance is for match. Other combinations, as I'll talk about it. If you get into what other services that we are going to talk, like provisioning to all that. Yeah. For now, I think we talked about 3 instances of JBoss. One for real time, one for online, second for batch, other is for what? Match. Got right? But these are all required in case if you deal with what? Medium to large volume of data, or else we don't need to have to maintain this many instances of application server. Got right?
Yeah, can we separate clean and match also? Like,
yeah, definitely. Simple, right? So exactly. Here can you see here, Diana? So if you look at this particular configuration, right? Let's say we enable plans over here. Yeah. And we can disable match. Can you see match here? We can disable.
Okay.
Which means this instance, this configuration, we use it only for cleansing. You got right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And we can have multiple JBoss instances. I think I talked about, which can listen in different port numbers. Yeah. So let's say this is the default port number, right? So what's the default port number for JBus that we are using now?
8080.
Exactly. You can see right here, 8080. Yeah. So this is a default port number. Yeah. So for Tomcat JBus same, but you can change these numbers. So where do you change it? We'll talk about it. Server.xml. We'll see that later. Installation part, right? Okay. So that's it.
Hey,
Narasimha, one
Narasimha,
question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so when we go to that process server, right, there we have selected that cleans mode as online and batch. Below that, we do have a match mode, and below that also we have enable batch processing. So, like, what is the difference between that enable batch processing and let's suppose the cleans mode if we select as online?
So yeah, just to, I don't know where I got a question correctly. So we enable this same what I call same configuration for both cleansing as well as match. So these two are enabled, which means we can use same JBus instance for carrying out both operations. One, cleansing, second, match. First part of our answer. Yeah. Second part. So we are using cleanse in both online as well as a batch, and also match also in online batch, which means from external SIF and also within internal MDM, right? So we can use it for both cleanse server as well as match server. That's what it means. I hope you got the answer to your question.
And that third option, Narasimha,
Which
below
one?
the match mode, enable batch processing.
Enable batch processing. Batch is basically for set of jobs. Yeah. So this is required when you try to get into what grouping a number of jobs. So we'll see that. So those jobs could be combination of cleanse based, match based, even other things also merge or load whatever, right? Yeah. So that's where enable batch processing required. Fine. Batch means grouping, set of loads in one batch, set of match in another batch, and so on. You got right?
Yes.
Yeah. Fine. So now let us try to
what's the
get it.
offline there, Narasimha? What's the offline there?
Offline means if you want to make the server is in maintenance mode. So then click on offline so that people cannot access this server. So they can perform cleanup activity for those server. You
Okay,
got
so
right?
during upgrade or something?
Yeah, during upgrade, or let us say once in a while, there'll be some pile up of many files in the server side, right? Yes or no? So let's say if they want to perform some cleanup, all unwanted thing, caches or temporary folders, whatever. In that case, they'll make it in offline mode. Then they'll perform all the cleanup activities. Then they'll just take out this. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So in extension to the questions that I was asking, like we can have dedicated process server for cleansing, match, and everything, right?
Exactly.
The question is, obviously that would be a costly solution, and like you said, better to use it for medium to large uh, kind of scenarios, right? But the question is there a load balancer kind of a thing available so that if let's say there is no match job is running or cleansing job is running, then the same instance can be used to cater to the other heavy load kind of a requirement?
Yeah, that also we can take in the same app server. There's a clustering configuration. We need to do that. Then we can maintain multiple clusters. Then based on the clusters, we can take care of load balancing. Yes. So
So
yes,
that
we
is
can
some
take.
sort of an add-on, or what is it actually? How to enable it?
So we have to take care of it in server side as part of JBus configuration. We do that.
Okay.
That's a one thing. And second, that's load balancing with respect to what? Based on the freely available resources in hardware environment. That's one point of. And second, we can also take care, let's say, having, let us say, allocate more number of threads per match and less number of threads per cleanse. Can you see here, Uma? So because let's say cleanse would require lesser number of resources. In that case, we can allocate lesser number of threads and then allocate more number of threads for what batch processing. Yeah. So here also we can perform what we call allocation. But the best thing is with respect to load balancing is what container side we do it by maintaining multiple clusters within the same environment. Yeah.
Okay. So that 1:20 is a proportion or number?
Just a num. It's just a number. We can change it. It's just a configurable number. It's a default. They kept it.
Yeah, but then.
Yeah.
So in total, it is 21. You are saying.
21 threads.
So
but you have many threads. Yeah.
We can have more, right? We can have 50.
Yeah,
we can have this.
That's what I said. That's what I said. So if you have, let's say, for example, let us take 42. Sorry, say let's say 96 GB RAM, and then 32 CPU box. 32 CPUs means, let us say, per CPU we got 2 virtual cores, which means we can have up to 64 cores. Per core we can have 1 thread. So we can go up to 64 threads. That's a maximum, let us say. I'm just talking about hardware configuration. Based on that, we can, yeah.
I get it. Okay.
And also one question on this page. Can you just open this again?
This one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, cleanse mode and batch mode, it's mentioned online and batch. And if we disable enabling batch processing here, then how it will process? I mean, online and batch.
How it process means?
I mean, it will process the batch.
Process in batches. It'll just process as a complete thing as a one set. See, let me take one example. Max, we are processing 1000 rows. Yes or no? So it will not divide that into multiple subsets if you don't enable batch. You got right? Okay. Batch means subsets, like 200, let's say 5 batches, which means 5 subsets. Each subset will have 200 rows. So I've just taken 1000 rows as an example. You got right? Yes or no? So that we could achieve it by using what batch processing. That's what I said, set of jobs. Set of jobs means same match, set of match sub jobs. That's what I meant. So if you enable this, that's what will be done by MDM. You got right?
Okay. I mean, it will be parallel processing.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. It means divisioning of input data into what? Multiple subsets. Yeah. Based on the volume. Volume is, let's say I have just given 1000 rows as an example, right? Yeah, that's all. Yeah. So that is why, yeah. Yeah, I think someone has some question. Please go ahead. Fine. So yeah, so now is that question that move
sorry.
on to what? Yes,
sorry, Narasimha, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, actually, not related to this, but I see my deployment folders like the MRM ER file has been failed. So will I have to start the processes again by running the command?
We need
Sorry?
We need to redeploy, Lakshmi.
Okay.
So yeah, let me go there. So which means your installation itself is failed. If it is failed,
yeah, I mean MRM cleanse ER and yeah, E360.
Whatever. If one of them is failed, means your installation is not successful. So
okay,
we need to redeploy. Before you redeploy, make sure that all the prerequisites all have been met. Then start performing reinstallation so that you'll not get to see this failed problems. Yeah, fine.
How do I redeploy? Sorry.
We'll have logs actually to identify cause of failures in the JBoss logs. Well, I'll talk about as part of logging module, like from JBoss, client, and up server, client server, mass server, and also external application. We've got multiple logs, so you can just go there to look at what went wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
So probably I'll talk about them when you talk about installation. Lakshmi, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. For now, answer is what? Yes. We have logs to tell us like where there is an exact problem. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Now I think all the prerequisites are ready to run this mapping, right? Yes or no? To run this in Hub console, right? So as an independent piece, go to batch viewer. Yeah, all. So look at your STG CRM, which means for every staging table, we can have only one mapping. Yeah. So under this, we can see stage section. Then under that, we got mapping. Yeah. So we can say the stage job. So now let us try to run it. So you can see description like what it does. So select a mapping and execute a batch. Yeah. Yes, try to refresh. See, it got failed. Yeah. So I think someone was talking about, I think Lakshmi or somebody, right? PK source object is not nullable in staging, right? So that was the error. So we can map C1 to PK source object, yeah, and save it. As PK source means not null, unique, right? So it's mandatory. Yeah? So that's why we need to map it. So now go back to batch viewer, select this mapping, execute it again. Now, can you guess what would be the result in the second run?
Zero data.
Yeah,
Oh,
zero records.
you already executed or what? Okay, refresh. It's taking time. Yeah. Can someone answer this question? Why it takes this much time to process zero records, guys? You need to recall the architecture. Yeah. See, we're all seniors, right? Every point we need to analyze. Why? Because MDM is slow. We all know that, right? So we need to make it performance effective way of execution, right? So that's why we need to understand this architecture at very deepest level. So why it takes more time to process zero rows? Can someone guess, or if you know exact answer, you can answer.
The same server that
Uh,
we're using for
Sorry, same server.
we are using the same server for app as well as for cleans.
Anything else?
Just checking all the tables and metadata tables. And as such in mapping, we didn't perform any query parameters, so it checked all the parameters there.
Yeah, that is close to the answer. Yeah. Remember, guys, any server, right? It has to perform bare minimal activities, so which we call startup time, you know, or initialization time. So which means it has to start the server, then start underlying threads, and then start creation of temporary files or cache or template tables or whatever. So these things would require bare minimal amount of time. Plus establishing the linkage between what landing and staging. This is also part of what? Initialization. So those steps would require what? Bare minimal amount of time. Example, in this case, it took what? 16 seconds. So though we process zero records. So this is going to be the startup time. So that is why for every job, there is going to be startup time overhead. So to cut it down, so we need to make sure that whether we allocated the right number of threads and right number of resources in terms of CPUs, memory, and disk and buffers. So those things we have to take care. I'll talk about those things in the sense as part of performance tuning techniques. For now, I've just given some clues so that you just can think on this lines to ask more questions when you talk about performance tuning technique. Yeah, fine. So that's it. It's clear, right? Yes or no? Now, let us say, so we need to start getting the data. What are the ways through which we can obtain the data onto this MDM? I think we talked about. What are the ways, guys? One, by using what? Third-party tool like ETL, ESBs, whatever. I think we talked about as part of where when we talked about MDM hub components, we have talked about it. Yes or no? Second, we can also directly insert data to what? Landing table. Third, what is the third way? We can also get through even bulk loaders or SQL loaders, whatever. Okay? Fine. So now let us take one of them. Let us try to insert at least one row under the landing table and see whether we could able to process that particular row so that we could able to see that as part of what? Staging table. Let us try to see that because it's simple straight through mapping, right? We have not done any cleansing over here, right? So let us log on to this SQL Plus. So please go to Windows menu and type CMD. So here you can just go to SQL Plus and which ORS we are using here? CMX underscore ORS and password is what? CMX underscore ORS, which is in caps. Enter. Yeah. So please try to log on to this, guys, which is ORS database. Yeah. Done. I think I hope all of you could able to log on to this ORS database, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let me try. Okay. So now, so let us try to create one table. What is this physical table for landing, guys? Is it LND CRM or something else?
LNDCR.
C
ELN.
underscore.
Exactly, that's correct. So we can see the physical table, right? If you select landing table, on the right side you can see what? C underscore LND underscore CRM. Correct, no? Fine. So now let us try to get into this SQL Plus and issue simple insert command. Insert into C underscore LND underscore CRM. Then we have columns like last, update, date, C1, C2, C3, and then values like the sys date, which is going to be the system date for last update date column. Then 1, 2, 3. Let us take sample data. Enter. Yeah. So please insert this. Yes. Is it done? All guys? Then issue commit command. So record will be persisted to learning table. No? All done.
Yes.
Then and I am all. No?
Okay.
Yeah. Sivendra, you have some question?
No.
Okay. Fine. So yeah, please issue insert command and commit it.
Can you paste the command into the chat, Narsima? For some reason, it's
Sure,
not
sure.
working.
Okay, I don't know whether I can place it or not because it's a VM, right? So
Yeah, if you can type in, that is also okay.
yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, fine. 1 second. I don't know whether you can copy from here to VM. Let me type. Yes, I've just sent it through chat box. Yeah. Or else best option, I'll put it in the notepad. So I think it's visible, right? Okay. What else? Yes. Yeah. So I think this is visible. You can just insert this, issue this command. You can just see and type. I think this is the best way. Chart, I don't know where it's top here. Let me try. Oh, it's working. Copy is working. That's good. Okay. You can also copy. Okay.
Yeah, it's working now.
Yeah, good. So now let us get into the hub console. I hope all done, right, guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Okay. Now let's go to batch viewer. Execute same mapping again. Yeah. Click on execute batch. Yeah, so let's try to refresh. So it is completed. So one row got processed, right? So which means data got transferred from landing to staging table. So it took 7 seconds to complete. So why it took 7 seconds now? Why it took 16 seconds in the earlier run? Can someone answer this question? So in this case, we have data, but still it's completed short time. Why? Because during this time, so there are more freely available resources. Remember, it means scheduler, right? In operating system, so it decides like when, where to execute based on the resources availability. So there's a init process, right? We all know that. So which means we don't have control on this. Yeah. So, but yes, we can process, we can prioritize, only that much we can do. But based on that, our task will have more priority than others. So yes, that any OS guys, OS admins, they should take care. In case if your job is a critical over others, right? Then we can highly prioritize on operating system side. So your job will execute in a short time. Yeah? These are the fact. This is one more factor to consider to make our job to run faster than with other processes. Yeah? Fine. So I think it's done, right? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we need to verify this, right? So let us try to verify. Go to SQL Plus, and then you can supply your select C1 from C underscore STG underscore CRM. So we got one row, right? C1 has got value 1. So likewise, you'll have data from other columns also. Like let's say PK source object is also same, right? PK source object. Yeah? 1, 1. So it's the same because we mapped C1 to PK source object. Yeah? So data got transferred and we could able to verify it in the backend table also. That's it. Yeah? Now let us try to focus on what? Cleansing. So with this, we can say that our environment is set to perform what? Data cleansing. So only environment only we focus so far. Now let us try to apply the data cleansing. Yeah. So as we discussed earlier, we got categorical based cleanse functions, right? String based, numeric, all that, right? Let us try to do at least couple of examples for each of those categories. So right click on this mapping workspace and select add function. Guys, yeah. So please select add function. Can you see here? So it will take you to what? The cleanse functions supported in MDM Hub, where we can see in the bottom, the first thing is what? String based functions. Yeah. So let us start from the beginning, which is what compress white space. What it does, it is going to convert n number of white spaces to single white space. Can you see the description here? You can just see it. Which means if you have, let's say, ABC space and 10 spaces with CDE, the 10 spaces will be converted to single white space. That's what would be done by using what? Compress white space cleanse function. Clear, right? Yes or no? Yeah. Say okay. Now let us double click on it. So we can see here, it takes one input and returns one output. So let us say we are going to deal with what? Static data rather than the data comes out from the landing table to start with. So to go with what? Static data, we can add constant data. For that, right click on this particular mapping workspace where we can select add constant. So please select add constant so that we can add constant values that can be taken as input to any cleanse function. Yeah. So click on add constant. In this case, we are dealing with string type. So we can use what? String type over here and supply the constant value as input to this compress white space. For example, ABC space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 white spaces followed by CDE. Now, what do you expect from this? It has to replace 6 white spaces to a single white space. That is our expectation from this particular compressed white space. So please apply this constant value. Yeah. Is it done, guys? All?
See, ma'am, so I'm stuck on the last step actually. It is saying table or view does not exist. Do we need to give some permissions for inserting record
Where?
on the landing?
Or I can share your desktop. Let me see. I don't
Yeah.
want your desktop. No, yeah, please share.
Can you see?
Yes. Oh, this is where insert command. Now, one sec. Let me see your table name should be what you gave actually.
This is the same that I created in Hub.
You gave customer, or can you please go to Hub Console?
Yeah.
One sec.
This
Oh,
one.
you got some other name.
Yeah.
C underscore customer underscore LDZ or LOG? LDG,
DG.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So same name you gave, huh?
Yeah.
So go back to that SQL plus. One second. Which schema you are in now? CMX ORS, huh? Let me
Right.
come on that. Can you please scroll up? Then. Okay. No. You are in CMX system.
Oh, okay.
You are wrong place.
Okay.
So now connect. Do connect. Connect space. No, they don't like that.
Oh.
That's fine. SQL plus.
Yeah.
Then CMX underscore ORS slash. Yeah, perfect. Underscore ORS. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now you can just issue that command. Use up arrow button. No, oh, you want to copy paste. Huh? That's also fine.
Yeah. Right.
Fine, that's also fine.
Let me see if it's still there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. So now
I
you can
think there was
just
a
say
noise.
commit.
Yeah. Okay.
Commit. Yes. Now let's go to that App Console and execute a mapping from the batch viewer. Dana, just to make sure that your thing works. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect, right? Yeah, it's
Okay.
processed. Yeah. So I'll take the control back. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so now let me go to this. Yeah. So yeah, Diana, you can also get into this and others also, guys. So please get into this mapping where you can just right click on mapping workspace and select add constant. After that, you'll get to see this particular window where you can supply the constant value, which is ABC followed by 6 spaces followed by CDE. Yeah? Done. And then say OK. Now you can just drag and drop. Actually, it's a downgraded version of Power Center. So this cleansing is not that great, guys. But we need to live with this in case the customer is not ready to go with the third-party cleanse tools. Yeah. Now map from constant to what? Input string. Yeah. So after that, you can just select one of the link from C3 and then right click and delete. Then map output of compressed white space to C3. So we'll see in C3 column of staging table, right? Compressed white space result. So please try to configure this.
So Narasimha, I'm not getting the string component for this compressed white space function.
Can you please share? Let me see.
Just change it to the expanded mode, Rajneesh. Right click on that compressed white space.
Oh, okay, got it. Thanks.
Make it full screen.
Yeah, it's actually not happening. If I try.
No, not that. Here, middle one. So from right, fourth one. Click on fourth one. Toolbar, yeah, fourth, yeah. Click on it. You got right?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So yeah, now you can just start adding one constant. Right click, add constant. Yeah. Then supply a space, whatever. Yeah, that's what you can see here.
Yeah, it's done.
Done, huh? Okay. So once you are done with that, save. Yeah. Yes. So now we can go to batch viewer and execute it again and see. This is the first example we are trying with a cleansing, right? So select a mapping, execute batch.
It's not working for me. Nursing.
Oh, what is not working? This compressed.
So I'm not getting the records.
Oh, can you please share if you don't?
Yeah.
Okay, click on this instance. Click on that first instance, December 3 under mapping. Yeah. Next one. Yeah, click on that. Oh, 0, right? So
it might be
is
the
that
landing not
now
committed.
go to SQL plus. Is it commit? Data is committed. Uma, go to SQL plus. SQL plus. Okay. Data looks like it's not inserted, right?
Yeah, it was inserted. It was inserted, but afterwards
it's not committed. Insert landing is fine. Commit is not done. Click on type commit. Commit. Yeah. Semicolon. Commit. MMIT. Yeah. MMIT. Semicolon. Yeah, perfect. Now let's go to that up console. Yeah, try to execute. So let's wait for some. Oh, so warning, huh? Yeah, click on first one. I think you got warning. I think you are the first person to create warning. That's good actually. Yeah. So you got the data, right, Uma? One has come, one got rejected because you would have inserted 2 times.
Right.
Because you can click on view rejects, Uma, just to see the reason. Yeah, you can see duplicate, right? Which means you would have done same insert command 2 times. That's okay. But one got into staging, right? That is fine. You got it, right?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. That rejection part I'll talk about anyway. When you get into rejection concept, right, I'll talk about all the reasons for rejection. Yeah, right?
Sure. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So now let us go to, yeah. So now you can try doing this. So like add this and run this. I think we have one good. So click on refresh. So we got only one row. Why we got only one row? Can someone answer this question? Last time also we got one row. Now also we got one row. Why not 2 rows? Or why not 0 rows? These are 2 questions, right? Or 2 possibilities. Yeah. First, why not 0? Because we have already processed, right? Same data. So why not? Because we have not enabled delta. This is ruled out. And second, why not 1? Oh, sorry. Why not 2? Because 1 we already have it. Second is what? Cleansed 1. Yeah. So we expect what? 2 records. So why there's only 1? Because stage job, it always performs what? Truncate followed by load. Which means it is going to empty the data, then start inserting data to the staging table. That's a default behavior, right? Yes or no? So that's it. Now we need to verify this result of compressed white space, right? So let us see that. Select which column? I think C3, right? I think C3. Yeah, so we got, right? Can you see here? There's only single white space that we can see over here. Yes or no? But we inserted what? 6 white spaces. So 6 got converted to single. Yeah. I hope you all have got the same result. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So now let us start getting into what another class. Yeah? So right click, add function, and select concatenate a simple one. Let us do that anyway. Concatenate. Yeah? So first thing, this particular concatenate function, what it does, it can take 6 input strings and get it concatenated to single output string. That's a maximum input strings it can take. What if you want to concat more than 6? Then how do you do it? Add one more concatenate function, take output of first concatenate, that will become as input to what? Second concatenate function. You got right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So that's it. Yeah. Now let us perform concatenation 1 from C1, which is from landing, second from constant, and third from C2. We are trying to mix the data from multiple sources. Sources in the sense one is landing, second is constant. Constant, let's say another source. Not a real source, but we're just treating just like a pseudo source. So we should get string 1, let us say 1, then A, B, C, C, D, E with including spaces, then C2. C2 is 2, I think. Yeah, 2. So let us delete this output of this compressed white space, connect output of concatenation to what? C3. Because we are focusing on now, let's say concatenate. And save it. Yeah, done guys, all?
Yes.
Okay. Only I can hear only from Sanvi. What happened to others? Let me come from the top. Aditi, Ankit, Ashish, Hector, Gaurav, Keshav, Mahendra. I think we're all there, right? Most
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yes. We are doing.
Yes, yes.
You're all doing, right? Yeah. So silence is a dangerous one. So yeah, fine.
to shut down my system, and after that I got locked out from the VM, and now I'm not able to reconnect.
Oh, your voice is breaking, madam.
I had to shut down my system because I was facing some issue, and now I'm not able to reconnect to the VM.
Okay. What is your ID, madam? I'll look at it after the session in case if you have severe problems. Yeah. So yeah, it's a request from my side. I request not to shut down the system because if you have problem, we'll try to rectify it unless it's a very severe problem. Because let us try to understand how to fix it. Some issues will take longer time. Those things in that case, we'll see some other fallback option. Fine. Shut down or restart take a lot of time. Yeah. From next time onwards. Yeah. So fine. So yeah. So now just perform this. Yeah.
So Narasimha, I tried running the mapping and it worked, but one question here. So the function, the compress white space function, because it is not there is no outlink, right? So does it not make the mapping invalid?
No.
Okay, so we can
So
have
that's
these
a
kind
good
of
part
like.
of it here. So whatever is mapped, right? Only those for those things you'll get a result. For unmapped ones, you'll not get any problems.
Okay, so it won't make it invalid.
Yes. Still, it's a valid mapping. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Fine. So now let us try. Yes,
Narasimha, one
please.
question actually. So for this compress white space, it will compress the white space between ABC and CDE, right? And then it will be as go as an input into string 2 and will be concatenated, right?
No. Here we are not concatenating. What you call compress white space. We are not doing. See, to answer a question, we need to take output of compress white space. That should be taken as input to this thing to then only. But here we are not taking output of this. We are directly taking constant. So no compress applied here. Yeah.
Okay, got it. I thought that.
Okay, that link I think you missed it. That's fine. Yeah. So fine, save it. Now let me also try to run it. So go to batch viewer, select a mapping, execute it. Yeah. Yeah, done guys. So let us try to refresh. So it is successful. There's only one record in the target table. Now in C3, we expect concatenated result. See, we got right 1. ABC in between ABC CD, can you see multiple spaces? Then 2. So that's what we can see as part of C3 column. Yeah.
Narasimha, here we can see the space between 1 and ABC, but not in between CD and 2. So what is the reason?
C2, C3, right?
CD, yes.
One second. Yeah. So if you look at this mapping, right, can you see here? So now the first one is C2, C1, right, which has come from the landing table. Then second is what? From ABC CDE. This is a constant. Can you see here? So which means to distinguish between multiple sources, which is one is a landing, other is what some other source. It is maintaining what you call gap, which is going to be 8 or 16 spaces. That's a default. Yeah. Then rest same. So between string 2 and string 3, can you see here? constant, that is already what you call established a bridge, right? Then no space is maintained between string 2, string 3. First time, just to have a demarcation point between multiple sources, right? It maintains space. Yep.
But in that case, the constant and string 3, right? Again, it is a difference between the sources. Like
No.
string 2 is.
That's what I said. First time only, it is going to make a demarcation point, which is what maintain spaces. First time only. From next time onwards, no. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes. Now let us. I think someone asked some question, right? So if you want output of compressed white space, which will become as input of concatenation, right? So we need to take out this. So link between ABC. Now, in between ABC CD, right? It will be compressed into single white space. Yeah. So let us save it. Yeah, and go to batch viewer and execute. Yeah, so now let us try to refresh. So we got same one row as part of the result. So we can verify that in a staging table. See here, now there is a single white space between what? ABC and CDE. No? Earlier case we can see ABC, CDE, multiple white spaces. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. That's about concatenation part. Can we just get into what another plans function, guys? If you are ready, we can get into the next one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let us right click and select add function. And now default means just constant value can supply. Format means we can convert input to any other format. Yeah. So by using what can you see here? Question marks. We can just convert left pad, right pad, just to apply padding character. A regular expression to identify matching characters. Then split and reverse. This is a bit complex. So remember, if we have input data, like for example, full name, and full name has to be divided into what? 2 or 3 subparts, like a first, last, whatever, right? So we can split it and we can also reverse it. Last will become as a first will become as a last. If you have such kind of scenario, then we can use what? Split and reverse. Let us use this. So because other functions are small ones, so let us take a bit complex one. Okay. So here, let us take again output of compressed white space that will be taken as input 2, split and reverse. And here, by default, input separator will be a space and output separator also is a space. If you don't supply anything, it would take default separators, which is what? Space in both the cases, both in the sense for input as well as output. Yeah. Now we can map output of this particular split and reverse to C3 column. Yeah. Map this to C3. So I've just deleted old one. Map it. Yeah. So what is the result we expect from this function, guys? Reversing, right? Which is CDE space ABC should come. That's it. Yeah. Now, all
Yes.
good. Now let us try to save it. I think all are doing right. So from the top, Aditi, Ankit, Ashish, all. Yeah.
So this function is going to split and reverse.
Yes, like ABC CD we have, right? So after
CD,
reversing,
ABC.
right? CD space ABC, Sika.
So what is the use case? Like any example?
That's what I told. Like we have, let's say we have full name, which
Mm-hmm.
contains what? First name, space, last name. Now what we need to do? First step, we need to divide this into what? Two subparts, first and last. Then second step, so we need to reverse, which means last should become first. First will become as a last. So in that case, we use this example. That's one thing. And second thing, let's say we have got a telephone number, yes sir, or zip code, which would contain first part of a zip code, second part of a zip code. Like in US, we got initial postal code and external postal code, right? Yes sir. First five have been reserved for initial, and last four have been reserved for last or external postal code. Yeah. So if you want to reverse, so last should become as a first, first should become as a last, based on the priority. Then we can use this particular function to perform that. Likewise, you can think of many examples. So, Sika?
Yeah, I got that point.
Fine. So, yeah, so try to configure this.
Yeah, I got the result also.
Oh, good. So now go to batch viewer. Let me also run it.
So Nasima, why we are not giving input separator and output separator here?
Yeah, default is space. In case if we have input which is not, which is other than space, right? Then we can supply. I'll show that example with the explicit separator also. Right? So let us try to refresh it. Yeah, we got the same result in the target table, which is count. Now we'll see this. Can you see here CD space ABC, right? So I think Sika confirmed. So I also got the same thing. I hope others also got the same thing, right? Yes or no?
Yeah, works for me as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Now let's try to get into what answering his question, which is separator, right? So what I answered was input and output separator by default is space. Like just now we saw the result here, right? CD is space. That's a default. Let us say you want some other separator as part of output. Then I'll use a colon here, right? I'm just adding a constant as a colon and connect this to what? Output separator. Now the result will be what? CD colon ABC. You know, we are just testing with what? One separator, right? Yeah. So please apply this. Done? Yeah. So now go to batch viewer and execute this.
Yeah, got colon in between.
Okay, good. So let me also check that. Yes. So we got it. That same way, we can also use it for input separator. For example, let's say I'm going to use same separator as input to this input separator. Now tell me, in this case, what is the result that we are going to get it? Is it going to be ABC CDE or CD ABC or something else? Yeah. Because by default is space. So earlier case it encountered that particular separator. That is why split occurred. Now there is no colon between two words. As a result, it should not perform neither split nor
Yeah.
reverse. Yeah. Yeah, so let us refresh this. The count is same, but we can verify the result. Can you see here? Output is equal to input because of what?
There is no
There is no
input separator. Yeah.
Exactly, which is colon, right? So that's it. I think with this we covered all inputs, right? Yes or no? I think this answered a question. Yeah. So that's it about split and reverse. Yeah. So likewise, you guys can try others. Yeah. So another bit complex one is what? Uppercase, lowercase, very straightforward. Substring is one of the important things. Substring will be used to extract part of a given input string. For example, let's say we have what a postal code or telephone number. So we need to extract first 4 digits. Or let us take name and extract only first 4 characters. In that case, we can use what substring. Yeah. So now, if you look at this particular, what you call okay, I'll just put it to the top. Okay. So it takes what string as input and start and length, 3 inputs, right? String, let us say, output of compressed white space, and start is going to be the from which position we need to start extracting the data. Let's say 1 example. Length, number of characters that you want to extract. For example, in this particular input data, let's say we got 2 words. We need to extract only first word. In that case, we can specify what start position is going to be 1 and type will be integer. So please apply this and then connect this 1 to start. Yeah, say okay. Now connect 1 to start. Same way, we can add one more constant, which is, let's say, length. So our goal is what? To extract first 3 characters, which means first word. Yeah? And connect this to what? Length. That's it. So this is going to be a seek value. Now let's say seed or length, all are same. Yeah. Then connect the output of this to C3 column. Yeah. And save it. Yeah. So that's it. Like how one can configure substring function. So please try to do that. Okay. Done, guys, all. Now go to batch viewer, select a mapping and exit. Yeah. refresh. So it's completed. Now we can see the result, the target. See, we got only first word, which is first 3 characters. Yeah. I hope you all have understood the effect of this particular substring function, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can just ask. Otherwise, we can stop for the day.
Naseema, I have one question actually. Probably you have mentioned that. So, what is the reason when we were running the empty table from landing to staging when the record count was 0? At that point of time, we are having we are getting more time to execute the batch instead of when we are running
Yes.
the data. Then
Yes, I have said it. Can someone answer this question? I will answer that. The reason is what? It took 16 seconds to run the empty mapping, and it took only 7 seconds to run the mapping with one record. The reason is what? At that particular point in time, the scheduler, right? Operating system scheduler, we look at what? Resources availability. Then start getting those resources allocated. If it is occupied, right, then it will wait. After freely available resources, right, then it will allocate. Then start getting it executed. That is a procedure. First time when we executed, system was loaded. That's why it took more time. Second time, system was not heavily loaded. That's why it took less time, though we have a data. Yeah.
okay.
Fine. That's the startup overhead. By default, you'll have some startup overhead anyway. So I think I talked about that. Startup time.
Because this is the first time actually we are running, so that's why
Yes,
probably.
Shivangi. First time we are running because it has to create all the temporary files, tables. I think I talked about establish connectivity. All that should be done, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
That will take bare minimal amount of time. Yeah. Plus resources availability. Yeah. Okay then. So thanks to all. So guys, we'll meet tomorrow. But before that, if anybody's got any severe problems in systems, right? Please let me know so that I'll fix it.
So
Yeah, Narsima.
I have two questions. This is Vishal actually. So before starting, right, we have performed the acquired lock operation, right? So is it for that particular schema or for that particular object?
Schema. ORS level lock.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Next.
And okay, Shandra, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, Shivendra.
Yeah, Narsima. So at the start, you were saying like this time actually we have made the schema and created the base object table and landing table. But as you mentioned, most of the time we import the schema which are already present in Informatica and we customize it, right? So where can we find it, those schema? Is it there or we have to externally import that?
No, see, there will be some existing schemas. If we have it, we can import it. If we don't have it, we have to create and import. Or we can create it from the scratch in Hub Console.
So
where we have it, see, yeah. I think as I said earlier, there's a data modeling team, right? Where they take the responsibility of building a model and taking care of metadata. In case if they have already done it, then we can use that to import. You got it? That's the best practice we follow. So they need to place it in some database with a specified schema. We need to get those details, then get it imported. Shivendra asked question. No?
So
Yes.
means they create the database schema in the database level, right? We will import it, then the relationship won't be there, right? We have to create it.
We can have it. No. See, in database also, we can have relationship. We can also store related tables in the database, right? Like something you guys would have seen, employee and department. by default, there'll be linkage between these two tables based on department number. Yeah. Likewise, we can have it for other tables also. Swendra. Right?
Okay, so we can directly import the whole schema, not the table by table and then create the relationship.
No, table wise we can import. For example, today we imported some columns from one table, right?
Yeah.
We can do that. Just a structure, like column names, type, other properties of metadata, nothing else here. Sivendra. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Shreya, you have some question?
Yeah.
I can't hear you, madam. You need to be a bit louder, madam.
Reconnect to the VM, and I missed the last few steps.
Okay, I don't know. After reconnect, you missed something. You said that's what you said, right? I don't know what you missed. But your VM is working, right?
It was working, but now I'm not able to reconnect.
Okay, tell me your ID, madam. I'll just take a look at it. Fine. What's your ID? No, I can't hear. Shreya. User?
It's 110.
Okay, 110, right? Yakta?
She said 110. She has
Yeah,
message.
I'll take a look at it, madam. Shreya, 110. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll make
Narasimha,
sure. Yeah, by tomorrow you can just use. Or else after 1 hour, right? You can just check it out, Shreya. I'll fix it right now. Yeah, fine.
Narasimha,
Yeah,
just
yes.
one question. I'm sharing my screen and I'm not able to see that elapsed time and all that in my screen. It is not getting fit. And I did the full screen as well, but still it is not, I'm not able to
Don't change the
use
resolution. So minimize all, go to status bar, show desktop, go to right click and properties. Screen resolution
Here?
you can change. Screen resolution, yeah. No, not here. In your desktop, right? Right click. And then right click, screen resolution. Yes. 1 second. Yeah. Just use 1024 by 768. Yeah. Just try this. Yeah. Apply. Okay. Keep changes. Yeah. Now go to the top console.
I'm not able to see that hub console as well now.
What is happening? What Vishal? I think you need some good lunch. Then only things will work.
Okay.
Yeah. Open. Yes. Change it. Yeah. And you already changed it, right, Vishal?
Yes, yes. But still, like,
No.
went
Say
down.
okay. No. You need to select the hub console. Click on hub console. Yeah. Now
But
go to that.
from.
Yeah. No, go to that. You are where you have some problem, right? You are seeing, right? So you can see elapsed time 1 second.
Yes, but now I have to scroll it down every time.
Vishal, it's not fair. At least some effort you need to put. That you can also change it to some other resolution. Huh?
But others are able to see
Try.
it.
Huh? Try with other resolution, right? I've
Okay,
already given answer.
I'll try it after lunch then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks to all guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you, Narasimha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.